Folks, it is Friday night and we are live again for the first time in almost a month. I mean, it feels like forever. Sorry to spoil the news, but we were pre-recording those episodes. Welcome into the Ultimate Schmodown Show. It's been a minute, and we're here to talk about what's been going on in the freaking world of Schmodown. I feel like so much has happened since the last time we all talked. Draft lists have been released with all new entries into the Schmodown. One of those folks is going to be joining us tonight. But joining me right now in this moment, by the way, I'm Colin, is my friend John Barr right there. Hi, John Barr.
Hey, Colin, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You know, I'm doing okay. You know, in the interest of full transparency, just to be completely honest, neither you nor Boggs have said anything about my cool new hat, and I'm pretty freaking pissed about it. But I'm, in the interest of I'm gonna try and move past it. I'm gonna try and figure it out. But I just wanted to take the time to announce our big news for the show, which is that I got a new hat, and that's the big news about new things happening with the show.
Good news, everyone.
That's from a show.
I
promise.
Yes, it is. But also joining us from a country not quite as crazy as ours, it's Boggs. How's it going, bud?
Well, we're not totally innocent here. We're pretty crazy ourselves, but maybe not as much as you guys, but we are pretty crazy. But yeah, man, all good. Excited for this show. We're live in a while, like you said, about a month. We've got a lot of guests coming on today. Shout out to Chris in the chat. I've just seen you. Obviously we've got Rick Raddus coming on. The infamous Rick Raddus. We're hoping he gets drafted this season. We've got Matt from Spin from the Real. We've got another host coming on. We're going to announce, anyone else. This is a shout out, call out to any other Schmodown draftee. If you're watching, if you know anyone who's in the draft, jump in the chat, DM us on Twitter, and we'll see what you got. We'll bring you on for 10 minutes or so, and hashtag what you got. That's what I'm saying.
That's right. Before you can get drafted to a team, you have to go through us.
Show me what you've got. Boggs laying down the challenge.
Hashtag what you got.
Yeah, show us what you got. But we've got some news. So we've been teasing it for a month or so. John Barr teased it, and then Boggs teased it, and I'm going to reveal it. This show is moving. We are packing up the U-Haul, the digital U-Haul, and we are moving over to the Pop Culture Universe YouTube channel on January 22nd, just in time for that Schmodown draft, where we are anxiously awaiting the new crop of Schmodown blood to come in and see what they've got. Guys, are you as excited as I am to move? John Barr, this is here we go. We're doing it. We're doing the thing.
That's right. I mean, listen, I've been doing nothing but moving for the past couple weeks, so, part of me is a little bit tuckered out by it, but hey, you're telling me there's a whole move where I don't have to even look at an airport? I'm interested, baby.
Boom. Boggs, do you even have U-Haul trucks over there? Like, what do you guys have? What's your packing company? Like, if you guys need to, pack up and move, who do you call?
There's a few big companies that you might know. Maybe
is it just the box trolls
UPS,
for you guys?
UPS.
You got UPS. Well, with UPS, you wouldn't rent a truck. If you needed to rent a moving truck, who would you rent one from?
Just local companies. It's not like a nationwide.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Big companies. Not as
hey, you need to get on that. That's a pretty big industry.
Maybe. Well, yeah, obviously, just comment on the move to the Pop Culture Universe. Me and Colin, John hasn't made his debut yet on the channel. Me and Colin are regulars now for the last few months. Just in case anyone doesn't know, we have nearly 11,000 subscribers on there. So obviously, we're, it's a big channel. We're doing a lot of work over there. It hasn't how do you say, haven't transferred as much as we wanted to on our obviously Ultimate Schmodown show. But yeah, anyone that's wants to tune along or watch our other stuff, subscribe to there. It's a big move, and yes, hopefully more exposure for the Schmodown as well. So yes, tune in. That's the Pop Culture Universe.
Yes, and of course, Gavin in the hat saying hello to John and Boggs. We are super excited to make the move because it'll just expose not just us to a wider audience, but the Schmodown in general, right? I mean, we know why we love the Schmodown, and if you're digging all the same stuff we are over there, which is, we do Pop Talk, which is just us breaking down all the goings-ons in the pop culture world. We did Cobra Kai review last week. You got We Have the High Ground with me and Boggs, where we just do Star Wars all the time. We've been doing top 5 lists recently. We've been doing the Mandalorian reviews, all that stuff going on over there. So if you like all that stuff, it seems that like the Schmodown be right up your alley. So if we could get some more people exposed to the game as well, nothing bad about that as well, because, all, what does it say? All press is good press. So speaking of good press, we're expanding this little box of folks, okay? This isn't going to be 3 rectangles next to each other anymore, folks. It's going to be 4 of us, okay? 4. We are adding a new guest, a new host who has been a guest on We Have the High Ground, and a host of Pop Talk on the Pop Culture Universe. Could call this some corporate synergy going on up in this house. We're crossing over the one, the only, the I would, if she had a Schmodown title, they would call her the librarian. It's Soul. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you
There's
guys?
some soul in this house. There's some soul in this house. Yes. What is up? How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Got off of work about a few hours ago, and so just ready to talk some Schmodown.
I hear that.
We are ready. We're just excited to have you on, so please give us a little bit of your background. We'll treat this as your episode 0, your issue 0 with the show. And you'll be joining us on the 22nd when we make the move over. So please let us into how you got into this crazy world that we all are uberly obsessed with.
So I'm a huge Screen Junkies fan, so Dan Murrell definitely was my guy over there, especially with movie fights. And a lot of times they would say, oh, he's double belted in movie trivia and movie things. And I was like, double belted? What other belt does he have? He has the movie. And so I did my little research, searching it, and I found the movie Trivia Schmodown. And so I've been around since about season 5, I think. There's been so many seasons. Book it now, Christian. Nice.
Book it. I'm testing out all the different versions of these banners, by the way.
I could tell.
So I've just been a fan ever since I got in. I actually got to go to a live event in Orlando, saw Dan Murrell and John Roca win the belts for the team belts, and that was just a wonderful crowd and an awesome atmosphere. And I'm sad that there has been no live events in 2020, and hopefully after all of this, later in 2021, maybe 2022, we'll go back to some live events. Come back to Florida. I know it's Florida, but come back to Florida.
If they go back to Florida, I mean, it'll be hard to not have a little reunion. A union. What do you call that? Like, what's the first time you all meet up? But yeah, we've all meet on the internet. Meetups, right? They call them meetup. Yeah.
What's the word for meeting someone?
What's the word when you get together with people? I forget.
I mean, it's hard for Colin. It's a little hard.
Are you speaking of a powwow, sir?
Ooh, yes. I believe we all have to sit the
I'm just having
crisscross
fun
of
with my new
applesauces.
mic.
Yes. Indeed.
And we have a match to talk.
Let's do
That's
it. We're
Improv
breaking down the
101,
IG
baby.
match. We're breaking down the IG match from Spectacular 5. Dropped today on the channel. One of the best matches of the entire... just the drama leading up to it was top notch. This is some of the pettiest of petty that you're going to get in the Schmodown. If you have Chandru the Chosen and the Queen of Corruption herself just going at each other, like, come on. And Winston's there, like, this was set up from the beginning to be drama on drama on drama. So where were you at going into this match? Did you think Corruption had the chance to come up in here and pull the upset?
I am swag, drip, drip till the death of me, because that is my squad. I love Winston. I love Chandru. Even though when we go a little bit later into what was said after the match, there was one moment that I was like, disrespectful Chandru. But other than that, I love Chandru. And so I was going, Chance has no chance. Because this is Chandru's belt.
I believe the
And it
line
seems-
is no belts for Chance, no chance for belts. Is that what he
That
said?
wasn't the line. No, it was with Mara.
No, I mean just Chandru's previous.
Oh, true,
Yeah.
true, true.
Yeah, forget it. Ignore me.
And Chance the Crapper was
Never.
kind of a low blow. I've just,
It was, but you know.
I feel like that was a bit of a low blow. But John Barr, my man, this match was definitely it was talked up probably a little, probably on the same level as the Star Wars match, just because we had the most amount of time to talk about it, right? We've just been anxiously awaiting this since the end of the IG tournament in July, or the beginning of August. So it's been a little while since we've seen these guys compete.
That's right.
So-
And
Yeah. No, go ahead.
yeah, well, I was going to say, it's interesting to think about as well, because even though the faction war was kind of decided before this match, with the Star Wars match that you mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, what wound up happening was this was kind of really the apex of the conflict between Swag and Corruption. Even though Corruption had already put it in the books, this was kind of the match that was really making it head-to-head. Obviously, the Winston versus Shannon conflict has been going on for quite some time. Chandru definitely has a habit of making himself a lot of enemies, and Chance exploding onto the Inner Geekdom scene through this tournament, even though, yes, it was not his Inner Geekdom debut, but this was really where he planted his feet and said, hey, I'm gonna be here for a hot sec. This was one of the matches that I think had the most build-up to it generally, because if you look at some of the other matches, yes, Dan Murrell versus Adam Collins, that had a lot of build-up to it, but still, even then, Adam Collins was still a lot more of a variable. Whereas with Chance and Chandru, everybody knew, when these guys are on the top of their game, they are dangerous, so who's going to win? So this was definitely, aside from previously mentioned Dan Murrell versus Adam Collins, this might have been the match I was most excited to see, Colin. And I think, obviously, this show has gone on at length about how we all love both Chance and Chandru collectively. And you especially, Colin, I knew you were, there you go. And that's 3 salutes. So I know you were
I'll do one
probably,
too.
there we go. You're learning. That's all we do on this show, is we'll each just go on a circle talk, and then every 5 minutes we'll just do that. And then we're set. Colin, let's talk a little bit about the match itself, though, huh? We've talked to death going into it.
And Chance got a new intro song. I thought that was cool. Chance kind of got his own little intro music there. That was a nice little drop in. Shout out to, assumingly, David B., right? Who probably would have done that. A shout out. So, round 1, going in. It seems like this was just, unfortunately, we always talk about on the show with Chance. He loves that first round. Boggs, he loves that first round, man. This was not his finest first round moment.
Yeah, it was a tough watch, man. But very hard questions, I thought, this round, on the rewatch. Chance only getting 5 points, and even Chandru getting 8. But that just shows how well, for me, that Chance played this year. In these 4 kind of matches, tournament matches, obviously against Oyama, against Parker, against hi Crystal, against the Barbarian, and of course against who's in the final, Kalinowski. He's hit perfect rounds and getting 10 questions in each of these in each round in the tournament. So it's just super tough round. Now, I was really disappointed for him because he's told us several times he does his best work in round 1. So I was a bit gutted for him going in, but yeah, I think it was just due to super hard questions. Nothing in it apart from that for me. But yeah, tough break for Chance.
Yeah,
and as well, I just want to say the promo for this was the best promo of Spectacular because with this, they've both won titles this year, so there were lots of highlights and lots of spice with Winston and Shannon and tension going in and stuff. Not really tension between Chandru and Chance, but everything else around them. There was excitement going in because they've got studio highlights, they've got live highlights, obviously not Chandru, but live event highlights and title winning highlights. With Chandru won kind of with Winston and obviously Chance and Mike winning the belts and stuff. So I did like that whole dynamic going back and forth in the primary. So for me, it was the best on the card.
Yeah, and it seemed like at the end of that round as well, Shannon pops in there for what seems to be a bit of an unnecessary challenge, just kind of for challenge's sake, because it seems like that's kind of been
Was it around? Oh, you mean Shannon? Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
yeah. Shannon pops in at the end of round 1, and it just kind of seems like that's a bit of a gamesmanship thing, maybe just to try to get in the head a little bit. I don't know. Soul, am I thinking too much about this?
I think so, because I think, too, there was moments where Chandru himself also was trying to get into Chance head, because the second Chance missed, Chandru says the comment of, oh, he must be a scroll, because we all know how well Chance does in round 1s. So him missing something, Chandru's making those little snide comments. He's playing the game as well as playing the game.
And he's got a bright orange wig on as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That just shows his confidence, though. You know, for me, like for you to do that in a title match, you know, everything coming down to this, or you're the heel of the season, you know, you and Shannon, and you've got a wig on too, and you're that confident. Like, it's just, yeah, for me, it verifies his confidence. But sorry, so go ahead.
And you had Chandru too when Shannon comes in. He's like, "Well, I missed it anyways." So kind of like a go ahead and challenge, lose your challenge. I missed. So it wouldn't mean anything. So I think it was more of Shannon trying to get into Chandru's head. I think Chandru was trying to get into Chance's head. And it was just everyone trying to get into everyone's head.
Well, let's see who in round 2 got into whose head. John, take us through round 2.
That's right. Well, looking at the heads of both of these competitors, one of them had a 8 out of a 10 possible points head, and then one of them had a 7 out of a 10 possible points head. If we're starting with Chandru first, he spun away from heroes and villains and got heroes and villains. Oopsies. But still, even with that category, he was able to get 8 out of a possible 10 points. He did not miss any questions, but he did have to go to multiple choice once or twice. It happens. Certainly, again, with the caliber of questions in an Inner Geekdom Division title match, you're going to see some of those toughies. And it was interesting to see how Chandru, knowing that he wasn't able to get that all-time perfect round coming out of round 1, made sure that, you know, played it a little bit safe, wanted to go to multiple choice when it worked for him, and it definitely paid off. Similarly with Chance, who got 7 out of a possible 10 points, also going to multiple choice when he needed to, with the DCEU category. I had to read for a second. Oh, no. But unfortunately, Chandru did miss a question. It was the Birds of Prey. What did I write here? Hold on. What was the question? Because I don't like what I wrote. It was a multiple choice question. That Chance.
It was, who did he have to steal a photo of someone? They had to steal a photo.
A nude photo
of someone. A nude photo of Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I had written missed the Birds of Prey nude multiple choice, and I was like, that, I don't like that.
Nope, you nailed it. You nailed it. You were right.
And that's why I'm in the draft. I'm not. But yeah, 7 out of a possible 10 points for Chance, but unfortunately, letting that 1 point sit on the board meant that Chandru was able to snatch it up and actually get himself 9 points total coming out of round 2, compared to Chance's 7 points, which, you know, again, no one's going to watch this match and say Chance is not a good Inner Geekdom player, but it's similar to kind of what we saw in the Ace versus Alex Damon match, where it's like you're just putting up a really good player against a really good freight train. And sometimes in the battle of person versus train gonna win.
Train gonna win, and we gotta talk about the challenge. About the farm, or the house, or for whatever they tried to
abode, mayhaps,
or whatever. Like, let's go bust out Martha Kent's will and testament and see whatever this was. Just, you know, actually
she said
labeled
casa.
as.
She said it in Spanish. I know for sure.
Yeah. Let's pull up the subtitles and let's see what the film actually says. It's sold. So yeah, this was just uber pettiness. I feel like just you know, petty for petty's sake.
This was a Ben Bateman challenge, as I like to call it, where it's not a challenge that you know you're gonna win. It's a challenge to get in your opponent's head, because Chandru already had that small little cushion going into round 2, and so he knew he could drop to multiple choice and still come out on top. You also have that miss with Chance, and so it was kind of one of those like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get into your head even further. I'm going to make you feel like, are we allowed to curse on here or no?
Oh, go for it.
I was like, make you feel like shit. And kind of, so it was one of those that, like, he's getting into his head. It's a Ben Bateman challenge. It's not a, and in my head, that's a good challenge, because if you're able to manipulate the game a little bit by doing that, then it's a good challenge, even if you know you're not going to win the challenge.
Yeah, sometimes just doing it because I know. I mean, I would lie if I sit here and say like I don't sit here and fume during some of the challenges and be like, oh, yeah, that's why I'm not gonna play. Because like this, like I totally like get in my own head. It's like going back to playing tennis. Like you just challenge somebody to say like, what are you gonna do? I can do it to do it. I'm not gonna do it any other time. This seems like the best time to do it. He was up, felt like he was comfortable in a comfortable position to make the call. Boggs, you cool with it?
Yeah, pretty much. It's obviously it's a petty challenge.
It's on brand. It's not like it's not on
That's what I'm
brand.
saying. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That it's basically some players use it as an advantage, as a strategic thing, because it could potentially get reversed. You could potentially get another question. Could potentially throw someone off. So it's quite layered. I think the reasons why they do it. But yeah, obviously it's petty. Would I do it? No, but it is within your capability to do. So I think it was a fair challenge. But I was glad it wasn't upheld because he's right. His house is on the farm, so what's the big deal? But Chandru, he's he will do anything. Like I said, if you spell one letter wrong on a board, he's going to challenge it. Anything like that, he's on it. So I appreciate that about players. Or I find it entertaining because people get angry with it. People get offended by it, upset. It might throw them off their game. So I appreciate all the mind games that's going on. So, so the subtle gameplay, strategic things, I love all that. So,
and it got to Chance as well because he said, "What a colossal waste of my time." So like he said that out loud. So you could see that it really got to him as well.
Well,
that's just cool though. I think he handled it well. So he didn't overly get angry or anything. Yeah, he took a shot back because I think he won the challenge. But yeah, maybe who knows? Sorry, John.
Absolutely. No, I was gonna say it's interesting that Con and you, Boggs, both kind of brought out how it's very on brand for Chandru, that challenge. One of the things I think has been the most interesting is watching Chandru's performances over this past year is that while it's definitely on brand for him as he's kind of embracing more and more of this heel image, it's not so much on brand for Swag. Because obviously Swag, their kind of whole image a lot of this year has been kind of the idea of these scrappy underdogs, a lot of the people that are playing more to have fun, as you see very obviously embodied by Lon Harris, but also I would say with players like Liz Shannon Miller, definitely with Ace, he kind of coming up as more of the scrappy guy who's happy to be here, but is also like, no, I deserve to be here. You see a lot more kind of face type antics from a lot of his players. Whereas you see with Chandru a little bit more of that heel stuff. And obviously that was stuff that was getting set before Chandru signed on with Swag. A lot of the Brandon Hanna stuff kind of brought that out of him. But that kind of makes me interested to toss it over to you guys, a little bit of a hypothetical question. Because we have heard Winston talk about how Chandru has been kind of the assistant coach of Swag. I think all of us are assuming that Winston is going to keep Chandru as one of his kind of folks going into the draft. So I'm curious if you guys think that maybe in this next season, especially since we're approaching War, do you think that we're going to see more players from the Swag division, or the Swag faction, behaving a little bit more like Chandru? And do you think that's necessarily a good thing? And Colin, I'll start with you, bud. What do you think about all that? I just dropped a whole heap and load of stuff onto you.
Well, I think it's kind of... I don't think people need to change because I think in some regards, you need a variety of characters. I look at it kind of like the Mighty Ducks. They got Charlie Conway, right? The captain, who's smart, knows what's up. They got Adam Banksy. They got the hot
artist.
shot up, right? The perfectionist. They got Goldberg, the goalie. But then they got the Bash Brothers, right? You got to have the Bash Brothers on there. Fulton Reed to come up in there and pop, knock some people around sometimes. It's unfortunate that Swag's version of somebody who goes around and knocks people around is, somewhat of Chandru's physical stature, but his play speaks louder than his physique. So he kind of just does the talking for him. And I think that is something that Swag values more than we might realize, that like he needs to have that because it provides confidence to the other players that allow them to be themselves. They're like, we might perceive him as a heel, and Boggs and all of it. We've gone at this like for hours on this show about like why Chandru is the way he is, because he's a different breed of outgoing. He brings in a different culture set of vibes, and it's something that we haven't seen on this, in the Schmodown, and he's his own breed. So I think that in itself allows for players like Liz Shannon Miller to feel more comfortable to be her genuine self. There's not too much of a character or vibe. It's what makes her comfortable. And that's something that I think Swag's about more, is about being yourself. You can be anyone and be on Swag. I think that's kind of the overall appeal of them. Maybe
You just have to have some swagger.
Yeah,
Gotta have
yeah,
a
you
little
just gotta
bit
have
of swagger
swag.
to be on Swag.
Yeah,
And if not, get a wig.
true. Boggs, are we kind of on the right track here?
Yeah, so I don't think anyone else can do it, because the way Chandru can, because Chandru he's a badass player. That's why. That's simple as that. Like in Inner Geekdom, he is so confident in every question, in every division. He is so confident within his own self that he will challenge any answer, the way you've written it down. Like he is that back to front with everything, every topic. So he's that confident, almost that cocky with it, that he can challenge like that. I think you have to be so good and confident in a particular division where you can do that. And I don't think anyone in Swag currently from last season anyway is of that caliber. Maybe Ace in Star Wars, but he's really not of that character. So I don't really think anyone else will do that. But if other people want to do that, I find it entertaining. So, I will particularly quite like it. And yeah, shout out to Chris as well. I do like when Winston has the kind of heel kind of bites, when he bites at the other managers and stuff. I particularly like that. So
That's why
he's got the
Winston's
balance.
such a good tweener. Winston's such a good tweener because he could play both that face and heel depending on who he's coaching and just what the situation calls for. So you see him against Shannon, he's going to go off as a heel manager. You see him with Chandru, he's going to be a heel manager. When you see him with Liz, he's going to be a face. And so it just depends on who he's coaching.
Exactly. That's why I keep saying Winston, manager of the year. There's only one choice. Winston Marshall, manager of the year. Back to the match at hand. Round 3, John Barr. Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
That's right. We got one question.
Speaking to the head, boy. Speaking to the head.
Oh, boy. There you go.
Oh,
That's
boy,
a
indeed.
signal.
I worked very
And
hard
that's
for that.
also a wand. And then, oh gosh, I feel like I have to. I mean, the wizards probably clean their ears at some point, so here's a Q-tip. All right, great. Yeah, we got a Wizarding World question that, of course, corresponds to Harry Potter and some other movies that we don't need to talk about. One thing I'll say is I was a little bit surprised considering these were the two competitors that we didn't get any competitor wagering 3 points. Because I feel like these are two players that have shown varying levels of Harry Potter comfortability at times throughout their careers in Inner Geekdom. But kudos to them. While we may not have gotten any competitor wagering 3 points, we did get 2 competitors with doggone right answers. Both competitors wagering 2 points. I'm sure a lovely confidence boost for Chance, getting a little bit more just kind of momentum going, but unfortunately, not any more point advantage over Chandru, as the point differential did not change. I don't know if we've brought up the score yet. Coming out of round 3, 19-14 in favor of Chandru. So that's part of why I bring up that, how many points do you wager? Because 2 points, definitely a smart bet as far as making sure you don't lose too much ground. But at the same time, you do have to kind of question, at what point do you go big in anticipation of going home? And part of me wonders, maybe this would have been the place to go just a little bit harder.
Yeah, ultimately we can have, hindsight is 20/20, so we can see that you eventually lose by 2, so the 1 point, doesn't eventually, doesn't actually hinder you, but with confidence boost, for sure. Who knows what numbers he would have picked if he got the question right. We can only speculate.
Yeah. If there's one thing I don't like, it's 2020. Huh?
100%. I want
that's a
that
joke
20.
about
I
how
want
the
that
world is bad.
2019 vision.
Ah.
And you saw Chance too asking, what is the points? You know he had the math in his head. And I think it was more of a confidence thing. I think if he had a little bit more confidence in that round going into it, he would have bet that 3. He would have gone big. But I think it was one of those, but what if I get it wrong? Let me bring it down to 2. And that was one of those moments where I think it was more of a confidence thing and less of a, I don't know Harry Potter as well.
For sure.
Absolutely. So, Boggs, any thoughts on round 3 before we move on to round 4?
No, for me, it's too risky to bet 3 for Harry Potter because it's so deep, and it might be a spell. What did someone say? It's for me, it's too. It could be too fine.
We know, Boggs, you haven't read the books. We know.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 2's a fair bet for me. I mean, if you're confident, then 2. If it's for me,
exactly how much of nearly headless Nick's head is attached to the rest of his body by the
I
time
believe it
that the
was just a
series
sliver
wraps.
of skin. I believe it was just a sliver of skin.
Can you give me the
Oh,
exact
excuse me.
measurement in inches? Precise.
I
Oh no,
believe-
wait, it's England. How many meters?
Centimeters.
Do I
There you go.
sense? Anyway.
We don't need to talk about that. Ooh, let's keep going. Round 4 is the speed round, Colin. That's where they go fast on their brooms. Vroom, vroom.
They do go very fast here, and it seems to me like Chance and Chandru were both very prepared for this round. I mean, the scoring was just out of control here. Chance coming out with 9 points. Chandru also coming out with 9 points. So, I mean, not too much to go on here other than, holy F, these two know a lot about inner geekdom. Boggs, like, where were you at in this? Who impressed you the most?
I would say, well, knowledge-wise and how many points they got, obviously they were equal, but I was most impressed with Chandru with this. Because anyone notices, he counts, obviously, the questions, as he does. He's done it a few times. But he was also counting the seconds because, he passed on one. And then when it came back round to Mark reading the question, he told Mark time as he's reading the question. So as if he got up to 60 and he's told Mark to stop. That's before Christian jumped in and said time. So I was like, this guy's thinking of the answers. He's counting the questions and he's counting the seconds. I was like, what the hell, dude? What kind of player is this? So, yeah, obviously, Chance done sick in round 4, as he's done in the past in his, some of his teams matches. So, yeah, he's just kept it at 5 going into that round. So, like he done in his team match as well, he didn't have a good round 1. He's just kept that. He's kept going all the way through, kept it at 5 points or however much it was in the team's match. But, yeah, it shows that he doesn't give up. He won't let you have to kind of beat him. He doesn't let you kind of walk over him, even if he's had a bad start. So, shout out to Chance. But yeah, Chandru was what I noticed in this round. I thought, yeah, the kind of things that he's doing, like I didn't see anyone else doing this kind of thing in the game, so super impressive.
Taking
And
it to a
that is why
different
Chandru
level.
has his doctorate.
Yeah. In rocket science.
That's the only difference, is being able to count to 5 during 60.
On your hand and in your head.
That's right.
Sol, I'm gonna make you talk about corruption, though. I mean, Chance is just seriously, like, if he's gonna have a chance, he's doing all the right things here.
I was very impressed with him going in, and even though I am swag drip drip, because Chance played really well in this game, and it was one of those that I'm excited for, because even though you have that rivalry between swag and corruption, I really enjoyed corruption this past year, because yeah, it's 2021 now. I was about to say this year. And just the Shannon as a manager, Chance as a player, triple threat, just how much well he's done. So I have to give Chance all the props in the world, and he was very impressive in that speed round as well.
It's interesting to see the transition of players that corruption has actually sought out to acquire, because it starts with Mike, right? And then it's Chance, who's not quite as dare I say dastardly as Mike. He's not out conspiring or slithering around. And then you bring on Marisol and Adam, and they're kind of this more timid yet confident corruption. And it just seems like Shannon is kind of, working to finding a good middle ground between some form of heel. They seem to, tweeners is a great phrase that, like, I mean, Marisol has the ability to flip that switch, like, at a moment's notice where, like, she could definitely be a heel or she could be face. You never know. John Barr, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting if you think back to when Chance first made his debut on the scene. That was at the height of Mike Kalinowski antics. And if you kind of think back and look back on it a little bit, we didn't see as much of Chance the person. We saw Chance the player, the, fan leaguer sensation, who came out and did some damage, but we didn't really get a lot of who he was other than Mike's secret weapon, because at that point, the whole storyline of the Schmodown was, uh-oh, Mike's being mean to my friends. And so that was kind of the way that it went. It's just Chance was another part of that. But now Chance has really come into his own as his own player. He's the one now that has beaten Mike in Inner Geekdom, regardless of whether or not he beats Chandru, which I guess we'll talk about in a moment with round 5. But I think that's part of what Shannon is thinking about, because she happens to know Mike pretty well, because she's...
I just hope so.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to a little bit tell sometimes, obviously, on camera. Maybe their chemistry is all just forced. I don't know. Obviously, there's no proof that they hang out in real life. But I think that's part of it, is that Shannon has seen how Mike has helped a very specific fan leaguer grow into a dangerous player in their own right. So I think she kind of knows what goes into as far as building up story, as far as building up character to help people who are a little bit lacking as far as just that presence, as far as that personality, as far as that schmo-down pro wrestler type presence, and then build them up into the ultimate weapons that Mike Kalinowski was, admittedly, maybe a season ago. Not that Mike's not good. I'm not here to throw shade. I'm not here to pour tea. I'm just here to say, once again, Chance is a very good player, but even, sometimes Spider-Man can't hold back the train. And that's to bring it back to a different metaphor that I used earlier. Sometimes Spider-Man is able to hold back that train with his webs, and all of New York picks him up and doesn't look underneath the mask. And sometimes you just get hit by a train, folks. Sometimes that's what happens, is you just get driven over. Shannon knows Mike. What would make you think that, John? Come on now. That's a great question, Chris, and quite frankly, I feel like a fool. I feel and fool, and I'm saying all kinds of words, and eventually they'll make sense, but I'm going to toss it over to Soul instead of trying to see if I can say things correctly.
And when you notice too, and I think it's something Jen Sturger has said multiple times, is that when Chance first came on, and Oyama as well, they were fan leaguers who didn't know how to actually treat themselves treat the game when they first came in. That they were using their heel work also when they were not in their matches, that they were saying things that weren't really pertaining to stuff, and so that they had to learn themselves. And you saw Chance really becoming his own person the farther and farther he got, and also Oyama, because I brought him up. But you have these two players in Chance and Oyama who came in fan leaguers, won belts, very impressive players, and they finally got the belts, and then they had to learn how to humble themselves afterwards. And so that's why the type of player that Chance is now, and that's the type of player that we root for, is someone who can humble themselves after defeat.
Absolutely. It's sort of like how we talk about with Kevin Smets. Part of the reason that he was able to become the Inner Geekdom champion is because he took that loss to Mike Kalinowski earlier on at that one Spectacular, I believe is the event that it was, where sometimes you need to take that loss, sometimes you need to get humbled a little bit before you can come back and go like, all right, now I know what defeat is, and I know that I want to keep fighting through those defeats for the victory.
Yeah, and it seems to me like this was just a bit of like a moment for corruption to maybe just step on the neck of the entire league, right? Like, this was an opportunity to show, like, we are the premier faction of this league. And round 5 is that last shot to show that you guys have a shot to be, not just to be the best, but to truly feel dominant this season and walk away with another belt. Because it seems like They had the opportunity, but round 5 comes in and Chance gives it his best shot. You got to give it to him. Gets enough points to at least force the possibility of Chandru having to make his 5. So, John Bard, please, as you do so well, take us through this round number 5.
That's right. Well, kind of like what you were saying, in the words of the Batman musical that exists on YouTube, sometimes if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And Chance is obviously part of the faction that has won everything over, but he couldn't quite beat the inner geekdom man, and that man being, at the moment at least, Chandru. Chance, of course, again, to his credit, no one's here saying Chance is not a good player. He was able to hit that 2-pointer pretty easy. He was able to get that 3-pointer pretty easy. And he forced Chandru, at the very least, to answer his 2, which he got pretty easy. And then we come down to those dag-nabbed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I think this is an instance more than anything where a lot of the inner geekdom focus tends to be on those big geeky franchises. We got our Marvels. We got our DCs. We've got our Harry Potter. But every now and then you gotta answer a question about Men in Black, which neither competitor hit in round 1 if I'm not mistaken. You gotta answer those Green Hornet questions, which I know Brandon Hanna is still fuming over. And every now and then, you have to answer a question about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And if I'm not mistaken, this was the TMNT, like the very terribly CGI'd Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
As opposed to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the excellently CGI'd movies from the 1980s. That was all, they lead you to believe those are costumes, but those are all actually George Lucas himself making computers. Unfortunately, things did not quite go the way of Chance. He missed that 5-pointer, and that kind of decided the match. And again, it's very interesting to look back at how, corruption, they'd already placed their lead firmly by the time this match even happened. But it is interesting as well to kind of look back and go like, oh man, this winning faction coming off of a pretty hefty loss. And obviously they make up for it later in the event. But it is kind of interesting to look at how even the champions can fall sometimes. And I think a big part of that narrative came with the Finstock exchange and how they were kind of the faction poised to win everything. And then we watched their downfall. But it is, again, interesting to note, again, since we're talking about fan leaguers that come in, kind of take the league by storm and sometimes need to get humbled, Corruption got a teensy bit humbled in this one moment. Where even as good as a player, Leo... or Die Hard, what's up, Leo? How you doing?
Yeah, I was thinking that too, because Winston made a "I'm old" comment.
Oh, he did. He said I'm old. I read that wrong in the notes. It had TMNT instead of just, and it didn't have the year next to it, so my brain got confused. Apologies, everyone. But yeah, it was the 1990s one. Yeah, because Winston, of course, is probably the biggest.
You made a mistake.
We call it a shell head. Would you call them shell heads, maybe? I feel like that's a good one. That should.
Listen, I had a friend who wrote for the Rise of the TMNT cartoon, so that's where my allegiances lie, is specifically with the new cartoon with Ben Schwartz that got canceled.
Well, we do have a bit of breaking news. Literally, within the last 20 minutes. We have breaking news in the Schmodown world. Bret Hart, WWE Hall of Famer, the Hitman, Bret Hart, has called out Chris Y2J Jericho out in a Schmodown match.
Is that his nickname?
Well, I mean, he's Y2J to people who knew of him before this instance, but yeah, sure. But Chris Jericho versus Bret Hart, unofficially confirmed. The video was tweeted out by Christian Harloff himself. We'll see what we can get coming up. But Boggs, does this excite you? I mean, we just keep expanding the Schmodown sphere.
Hell yes, of course. Bret hit my heart. I mean, he's a legend. You know, Chris in the chat will know he's obviously got a wrestling show himself. Yeah, absolute legend. You know, definitely looking forward to that if that's real. I don't know if he's on like Y2J's level in terms of trivia and stuff, but super interesting. Yeah, shout out to Leah Logan as well in the chat. Nice to see you back. But well, I just want to say, obviously, Chance and Chanju, my two favorite players, along with Ace this year. Shout out to the brothers, both of us. Two-time guests on our show, and much love to you guys. But anyway, let's get to the real business. I want to rage. I don't know about you guys. I want to rage. So
That's going to give me plenty of time to figure out why 2J stand. Is it from Jericho to Jericho? Is that what it is? Because I know his last name's Jericho.
I believe it had something to do with a Y2K reference, and it's Y2J.
That's it. That's
You ruined
at the time.
climate?
It's
Yes.
okay.
Oh, dear.
Something like that. But yeah.
Well, before we rage, you guys give your final thoughts on this after show that happened. So please take us through the debauchery that occurred, because someone made a return, and Boggs can make a bit of an announcement during part of this, but I will be right back.
Oh.
So
Okay.
we have the wonderful, the great, the brown dwarf star herself coming back to the movie Trivia Schmodown. She is ready. She made the joke of she was the trendsetter. She pushed her 2020 plans to 2021. And she's ready this January. And she said, January, beginning of the month. I think February is when we're starting out, though, is she's going to be playing Chandru for that belt. Do you guys think that she's going to get her belt back, or do you think Chandru's going to retain?
Oh, boy, that's a tough... I honestly don't know. I think that's going to be one of those things where I have to revisit Mara's old matches, because I feel like it's been now enough of a minute since we've seen Mara, where I'm just like, I don't want the recency bias to cloud my judgment too much. I don't want to just say, Chandra's the one who's played the most recently, so therefore Chandra will win. Because obviously Mara hadn't played before when she went into that tournament, and she kind of did a pretty doggone good job, if we all do say so ourselves. So it's a toughie, so I think I'm going to have to rewatch some stuff before I make any big, bold claims. What about you, Boggs? Are you feeling bold?
Yeah, so, I mean, nobody's beating Chandra at the minute. I don't care. He's that good. He's playing at that level. He beat the number one contender. I just think that he's in his pure prime at the moment. Only person to defend the title. Obviously, shout out to Mara, though, because she kind of stormed through the league, with her rivalries as well with Cushing and Kalinowski. Let's see what she's got. Obviously, she's been away for a while, but we are much looking forward to her return, of course. But, I mean, Chandra, the level he's playing at the minute, it's definitely one to look out for. So, I think, I don't know, early prediction, obviously, Chandra, but we'll see what's happening in the next few weeks. He's just in form at the minute, and he's tough to beat.
Absolutely. Looking down at the chat real quick, Leo Logan, could Mara v Chandra go in the same way as Mara versus Guy since the game's changed? That's part of why I'm a little bit unsure, because I definitely think that's a possibility, but I'm also like, again, I don't want to call things too quickly as well, you know what I mean? Because obviously, I was like, with Adam Collins, he kind of had to take, I think he's going to have to take a loss in singles before he can be the champ. Nope, I got goofed on with that one. So I don't know. It's definitely a possibility, though, Logan. And then Chris, final thoughts. I want to live in the timeline where Chance won and Shannon has both the singles and IG champ to start Season 8. I mean, listen.
I don't want that timeline.
We're in a timeline where I think end of Season 8, we could very well be sitting in that position, Chris, because at the very least, even if it's not Chandru, maybe Mike. Maybe we're going to live in a timeline where there's another Inner Geekdom tournament, and maybe Mike does a little bit better. Maybe Mike is just that one extra question in him that boots him to the top. Maybe Chance will do it. I don't know. There's all kinds of questions going into war, but from what I understand, Colin, and perhaps this is what you dipped out to see to, but if we're talking about the new season, we might have some new competitors to talk about.
Yes, we do. But before we do, we're going to say goodbye for a moment to our new co-host, Soul. She will be joining us later in the show. Thanks for hanging out and talking the IG with us, and we will see you soon. But folks, first, one man must be introduced before we introduce another. Because I feel like if there's an unofficial hype man for the ragiest of individuals, we got to bring in the master himself, coming all the way over from the Really Trivia Showdown on the Who Are They? Real Entertainment Network. It's Matt the Master Thomas. What is up, dude? How's it going, bud?
It's going good. Just getting close to finishing a promising young woman. It's really interesting so far. Perks of being a critic.
Nice.
But yeah, no, I've just been doing my promo man thing. You know what I mean? Because how else can you feel? One of your guys from the fan league you just started this past year gets the call up from an audition tape. I mean, Colin, Boggs, we're hoping to expand going forward at the Really Trivia Showdown. Just really excited. But this is big. It's big. And it was really weird when I got the message from Christian Harloff randomly one day. He's like, hey, can you hop in a stream? Hey, how are you? Can you hop in a StreamYard for a minute? I'm like, okay. I'm like, I wonder if he's about to tell me something for Spin from the Reel. And we get in there. He's like, yeah, you exchange pleasant here. So what can you tell me about the Rager? So it's just one of those things where at that moment you're like, validation. So,
well, what can you tell us about the Rager before we let him do the talking? Or should we just let him do the talking?
I was about to say, I'd rather let him do the talking.
Well, folks, without further ado,
Colin,
we're going to give this man the entire...
If I may,
what?
Can I introduce my man?
Please, sir, you have the floor.
In the style of Really Trivia Showdown or the movie Trivia Showdown, whatever you want to say. So, without further ado, introducing first, we have the one and the only, the Rager, Rick Raddus.
Welcome to Schmodown is Raddus. Are you boys ready to rage tonight? Let me hear it. Let me hear it.
Yeah.
Damn right. You damn right.
So great to be here. So great to see you, Colin and Boggs. How you doing? You feeling good? How you been sleeping lately? Great to see you.
I've been sleeping
Very
okay.
good, man. Very good. I sleep better knowing that you, sir, are in the draft. You, sir.
It's true. That is true, Daddy. Ricky Rage is going all the way. He's entering the 2021 Schmodown draft, and I've never felt better, baby.
Dude, you did it. Look at you, you fine little son of a bitch over there, looking all mighty fine. Look at that. Hey, you gonna get it. Look at you over there.
Who
Nice
you wearing? What you wearing? Tell us.
Yeah, who you got on tonight?
Oh, this is a custom-made, one of a kind. You can't get this anywhere. Look at the collar. Look at the sleeves, baby. This is a Raddus original, all right? You can't get this off the shelf. This is primo. You got to be the man himself. You want to dress like this. You think anybody can just go out there and look like this and pull it off? No. You're not going to see anybody else wearing this in the draft. I can promise you that much, baby.
That looks good.
God, you got to be related to Johnny Drama from Entourage. You two might be cousins from another mother. You know, I feel like you guys got to...
Yeah. I think I'm out of room with him in college or something. I don't know. Those years are kind of hazy for me.
Ooh, I don't know, man. He's like 52. I don't know if you want to age yourself that
How old
much.
do you think I am?
Whoa, I don't know, man. I don't know. But, dude, Matt, I mean, what's you guys out here just been tearing up the scene. You guys are the most talked about players in the entire Schmodown right now.
He is one of the most talked about players. I'm not in the draft, unfortunately, as of right now. Well, maybe I'll get lucky and we'll know when that final list drops. But I've been doing what I can to help this man do what he needs to do. So
Great to see you, Thomas. How are you?
doing all right.
Look at us. Who'd have thought? Look at us. Not me.
How's your agent doing?
He's all right. He's taking a little cat nap. You know what I mean? You got him the night off tonight, coming in here and hanging out with Raddus. So I appreciate you, as does he.
Mr. Raddus, I gotta ask. Of
Yeah.
the hundreds and hundreds of people to audition, you were the first to get announced. How does it feel? How was the first kind of exchanges with Christian being accepted by the league? What was the fan reaction? Give us a lowdown.
It's been amazing so far. And let me point out, I mean, I in case you guys weren't paying attention, I wasn't the first ones announced for the draft. That wasn't Dan Murrell, right? That wasn't John Roca, okay? It wasn't Kevin Smith or Chris Jericho. Me, Rick Raddus. Christian Harloff said, who do I got to put out there? Who do I got to announce to make people excited, jazzed up, interested for the 2021 draft? I got to go Raddus, Daddy, and he did. Great to see you, Chris Anthony Lopez. Thanks for watching. What a handsome man in chat. You got to love to see that. At the end of the day, the phone call was inevitable, but it didn't mean I was any less excited, any less enthusiastic to see Christian Harloff's name appear upon the Ragers' phone. I answered that call. I said, how you doing, Daddy? And all he said was, Rager, how's it going? Oh, and it felt so good to hear the chairman from God's lips to the Ragers' ear. It felt so good to get the recognition I've been fighting for all this time. And there it is, made public. And people talking to me ever since, sliding my DMs, calling, tweeting, wanting to know what Rick Raddus is all about. And it's been a pleasure and a privilege and a treat to come on shows just like this one and get introduced to the Schmodown community. I've been having the time of my life, baby.
John Barr, what do you got for this fine new addition to this league?
How are you, John? It's good to meet you.
This is a vibe.
Likewise, buddy. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that's interesting is looking back at the requirements for those little audition videos that many of us sent in. One of the things was cutting a promo against someone or another. So obviously, listen, we don't want to get too deep into the background if you don't feel comfortable saying exactly who you cut a promo against. Don't worry about it. But if there is one player that you're really eyeing up and hoping that you might be able to get a piece of, who are you looking at?
Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt everyone. You want to know who Ricky Raddus called out in his audition tape? I've got no qualms about airing that dirty laundry out right here on Ultimate Schmodown Show, baby. I called out one guy, Andrew Guy. Oh. When I think about people I resonate with, people I think I could tear the house down, I look at somebody like Andrew Guy who just doesn't come in and say, I watched a couple movies. I think I might know the answers to these questions. This is a guy who comes in and he steals the show. This is a guy who comes in and puts on a performance. This is a guy who lives and breathes this stuff. And that's me. That's Ricky Rage, baby. So I want to take on Andrew Guy. I know what I got. I got the stuff. I got the beans to take on Andrew Guy, baby. I would be happy to do it.
Absolutely. Are you now worried that you're going to have to tear down a house to figure out wherever Andrew Guy's been abducted and taken to?
It's true, and I let me tell you, I pray to every guy before I sleep that Andrew Guy makes it out in one piece. But, one of the big questions I've been getting when I go on these programs, what groups, what factions, what are you interested in? Let me tell you, the next phone call I want to get isn't coming from Christian Harloff, or maybe it is. I want a call from the Schmominati. I want in. If the Ragers coming, I want to cozy up with the biggest group there is, and that's the Schmominati, baby. So give me a call. Come to my house. Hide under my bed. Do whatever you do. I'm sure you're watching right now because you got eyes and ears in every corner of the earth, Schmominati. So I'm calling you now. And let me also, let me go call somebody else out while I'm here. Since breaking news, Bret the Hitman Hart is apparently eyeing the Schmodown. He's calling out Chris Jericho. And I know that sounds cool. That sounds cute and all right. But let's be honest. Chris Jericho ain't won a movie trivia Schmodown in his life. All right? Ricky Rage has been doing this. He's been breathing this. He's been living this. So if Bret the Hitman Hart, the execution of excellence, wants a true challenge, look no further than right here. Look no further than right here, Ricky Rage. So let me be the first to call out Bret Hart in turn. Welcome, Hart.
Well, I mean, I got all kinds of questions about which gods you're praying to and specifically what order and how long each of your, praises
I got time.
Are,
you want to go into it?
I
got
mean,
time.
we should probably cut to another person because I've been monopolizing the conversation. Boggs, what about you, buddy? Do you have the same, what are you thinking?
I just want to say about Rick, about good old Rick Rager. I've seen you on the circuit. I've seen you with all the other after shows. I've seen the graft that you're putting in.
Yeah.
Like no other draftee, may I add. May I add, you also play in the fan leagues. May I add, you can cut a promo. May I add, you can do an interview. May I add, you can, do the character work and any other tasks that they may ask. So any other manager that sees the graft that this guy's putting in, that the responsibility he's willing to take, and he can also play. So he's a sure bet for me for a drafty. Any managers watching, I'm looking at you, Kaiser, friend of the show. Kaiser does his research. He looks after his players. He works well with them in good communication. I think you, Rick Raddus, will go along with Kaiser like a shoe, like a sock in a shoe, foot in a shoe, whatever. The fit would be like that. Like I think you and Kaiser would be the perfect fit. Who do you want as your manager, or who are your kind of top ones that you're looking at?
First of all, I appreciate you saying so, Boggs. I appreciate coming on one of these shows and not just, hey, what's your name? Where you from? I appreciate coming on.
I know all that. Yeah.
I appreciate getting the recognition that I feel like I've really earned by doing these trivia matches. So thank you. I appreciate you saying so. Look, the people have been saying, I've seen it in chat rooms and Facebook groups and tweets and the such, that Ricky Rage and Kaiser would make a great team. And I don't disagree. Not at all. I love the sound of that. I would love to cozy on up with Kaiser over in the dungeon, baby. But, here's the thing. I'm adaptable. All right? I'm loose. I'm quick on my feet. I could be an asset to any group that's interested in having me. And I would implore each and one of them to consider having Rick Raddus, right? At the same time, I said before, I'll say it again, big fan of Corruption, big fan of what they did this past season, big fan of where they're at and their place in the universe right now. They got great energy. They got great drive. I love their attitude. I love their philosophy. And I think I would mesh really well with Corruption. At the same time, Rockstars. Roxy Stryer, one of the best trash talkers in the game of all time. No question about it. I think Roxy and I could really upset some people, could really scare some people. And I'm up for that too. But at the same time, Exchange, right? Exchange. Home of the GOATs. At least at one point, maybe not anymore. We'll find out at the end of this draft and such. But if you want to have a home of the GOATs, bye-bye. Rick Raddus. Put me in that stable, you know what I'm saying?
So Raddus, looks like you got a little bit of a ratitude over there, baby. You got a little bit of that. You might want to carry that over.
I mean,
like that.
Like Jack Torrance, right? Like that. It's part of. That's where it comes from. He's got that shining, crazy ass attitude.
The attitude is unmistakable.
That shining attitude. I can also. I've got a sidekick connection with Bobcat Goldthwait. All right. So yeah.
Matt, who do you want to see Rick the Rager with?
Who do I want to see him with?
Yeah. What faction? What manager? Maybe teammate? That kind of thing.
I said Bobcat Goldthwait to make Scatman Crothers. Go on, Matt.
There are actually two competitors I would like to see him teamed up with.
Okay.
One of which I had while talking to his agent and I kind of discussed because we thought it would be a great idea, but I'm going to keep that to myself just in case that's were to happen. But one that I have no issue putting out into the universe is I'd love to see him with Video Drew, especially when you see the new energy she's bringing out. Even I want to say I was listening to yesterday's episode of SCN Live, and Christian was talking about how she's just really decided to take this serious and is coming for a belt, it seems like. So I think that'd be a great person for him to team up with, especially those weird energies. But also, if Adam Collins were to lose Marisol and Rick ends up on Corruption, I got to respect Adam Collins, but he needs a little bit of personality by his side. So,
I guess I just gotta know, because I've been thinking about this all. As far as praying to the god, where does Hephaestus fall? Because I feel like Hephaestus, he's kind of a slept-on Greek god. So I just gotta know, as far as the hierarchy of gods you're praying to, how much time are you spending with Hephaestus? How many goats are you sacrificing at his altar?
I send him a Snapchat once in a while. I'm more of a Nyarlathotep guy, the cosmic dread god of nightmares. Millions of light years away. He answers my calls a little bit quicker than the rest. Well, I'm kind of biased towards Nyarlathotep. Yeah.
No, that's fair. I mean, when you're choosing a deity, it's all about who's got that response time. I completely get it, man. Yeah. I think that's totally fair. I mean, that's why I've completely fallen off of Khonshu, quite frankly, because that guy has just not been. His whole thing is fucking Moon Knight, and it's like we know about Moon Knight. You could just pay attention to one other guy. That's all I've got. That really just the deity talk is kind of my bread and butter on this show. Colin, what do you think of? I mean, you look like you're looking at your phone, talking to some people. What's going on?
I'm doing some stuff. I'm moving and grooving.
He's figuring out some behind-the-scenes stuff. But I got a question for Boggs.
Yes,
Boggs,
sir.
how do you feel about the fact that Christian compared the Rager to your boy Jeff Snyder combined with Makuga? And what was the other one, Rager?
Dagnino, daddy.
There we go.
Some big names, some big shoes to fill, my friend. Obviously,
No doubt
Jeff
it.
Snyder.
Yeah.
Not only is he one of the best characters of all time, he's also one of the best heels of all time.
Yeah.
And sorry, John, but last year he's proved he's one of the best players of all time. Might win Player of the Year. You know, Christian sees that same elements in you. So big compliments, big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
So let's say you do get drafted.
Yeah.
What are your aims? What division are you playing in? I'm gonna say what strengths. Obviously, you don't want to give your kind of wheel slices away.
Yeah.
But what areas are you looking at?
Oh, well, I think we're going to get graphics this year, so give me your strengths. Come on. Spill the beans a little bit. Show the people what you got.
Oh,
Bob's like Stanley Kubrick films.
Oh, okay, they want scoops out here. You think I'm an ice cream man? I'm just gonna open the freezer and put it in your hands.
Yeah, give me some rainbow sherbet, damn it. Let's go.
Yeah, okay, you're lucky you get a 2-ball screwball if you've been good, Kyle. And listen, it's no secret I'm competing in singles. And I ain't got no problem with saying that everywhere I go. The Rager's competing in singles. If he competes only in singles, we'll see what happens. But the Rager is competing in singles. Book it, sign it, seal it, deliver it. It's done. Strengths and weaknesses. Look, man. I'll be honest. I like to keep a couple things in the row. Okay, pull them out later. Stay tuned. You'll see what
What's the stitching on the outside say, baby?
I got a sick attitude, daddy. Here's the thing. I like intense movies. Hey, turn your Xbox off.
Yeah, turn the Xbox off, Matt. Jeez, who locked on the Xbox? Oh my god.
You playing 2K over there? We're trying to do a show. Jesus
Mario
Christ.
Kart.
Listen, sometimes you just gotta play Gears of War 2.
No,
Sometimes
like
you
I
just
said,
gotta play.
I was watching Promising Young Woman. It's on pause right now. So
Oh, okay.
Humble brag over here. You see this guy? His connections over here? No wonder we run in the same circles. Look, you'll see my strengths and weaknesses. None really to report on, but I like intense movies. I like thrillers. I like things that are suspenseful. I like things that are scary. I like things that make your blood run hot because that's what I do and that's the life I lead. So look, I'm not gonna get too into it because there's a bunch of schmoed out vultures out here, right, trying to pick at Rager's carcass. Like I got a big slab of meat on the grill. Everywhere I go, people are telling me, "Look out, be careful." All right, so I ain't gonna say too much. You want to know the Rager's strengths? Stay tuned, Daddy, because it's going to be very apparent in 2021.
And I'll just say Rager because Boggs brought it up. If you get a chance at Jeff Snyder in any division, break his skull.
Look, they say Christian Harlessism kind of like Snyder, right? Kind of like Dagnito, kind of like Makuga, and it's flattering. Yeah, those are big names. Like I was saying, kind of a
Chris Lopez.
Wow, good for that.
Plus 15 on that gamer score, Matt. Plus 15 on the gamer score.
Good job, gamer. It's a compliment at the same time. I want people to understand when Rick Raddus gets there, when he's competing, when he's there in MTS, no comparisons necessary. You're going to know exactly what you're getting, and you're going to love every moment of it, baby. As far as Jeff Snyder or anybody else in the Schmodown goes, comparisons or not, I'll take anybody. And I mean anybody. That's a promise, baby. That's not even just a promise. That's a spoiler, Daddy.
it's not just a promise, it's a promising young woman.
Boom. Bingo, bango, bongo. Folks,
Carrie Mulligan.
boom.
That's a freebie.
Let's go.
Great
Rick
job.
Raddus, the Rager himself. It's been a pleasure, sir, having you join us today. Good luck in the draft going off here at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Mr. Matt Thomas, we're going to send you and your client back into the waiting room as we bring on another draftee coming onto this show. We got another guest coming on. A surprise. That's right. Hey, Rick, maybe hang around. Maybe you might learn something, see what's going on here.
I'll learn something. Okay, class.
Oh, you learned something. Okay, well, we're about to teach you something, son, and you'll see what's up right now. But thank you for joining us, both of you.
7
Matt, we
times
might see
8
you a
is
bit
50.
later as we get into a bit deeper of a discussion. Hey, Rick. Bye, baby.
Rager out.
Joining us, folks, all the way from the chat room. Make it from the chat room. Make it onto
Someone's
the main
stepping up.
show.
Someone is
Stepping up. Let's go. Joining us is a rookie in the Star Wars division coming up in 2021. Happy to have on the show Mr. Thomas Harper. Thomas, thank you so much for coming on, hanging out, man. Thanks for reaching out.
What's happening? Sorry I saw you guys a little late here.
Oh, no worries.
No worries.
We're definitely liable to go for 3 hours and not even realize it.
Yeah, no way I'm leading in for Raddus after all that. So I'm happy to ride his coattails after that performance.
Absolutely, man. So please give us your... I was on a show today where I said, please give me your Star Wars story. Where I was talking to somebody about how they got into Star Wars. Please give me your Schmodown story. How did you get into the Schmodown?
Alex Damon is I should say Alex and Molly Damon, because I've been bugging the two of them incessantly for, like 3 years now to get in Christian's ear and put in a word for me. So Alex and I go back to, 2015-ish at the Star Wars tournament at Dragon Con. And I'm coming in alongside two other Dragon Con players that have happened to beat Alex in the past. And yeah, Alex finally came through, I guess, cracked through Christian and got us an in. So it's good. Good to be here.
Well, awesome. Before we get into more of the discussion, we're going to bring back in our other co-host, Sol. She's joining us now on the channel, bringing her back into the discussion. But
you
Boggs,
say Star Wars, I gotta come in, right?
Yeah, I know, right? We got the Star Wars crew here. And Thomas, we the three of us host a Star Wars show together on the Pop Culture Universe YouTube channel. We have the high ground where we've just been started for the last couple months. So I mean, we're happy to get into the Star Wars world as well. So Boggs, please go. Just let's see. Get your interview in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, no, I just want to know, what did you think of the tournament last year? Kind of what of maybe some of your favorite Star Wars matches? How do you think you would have done in that tournament? The kind of question level, just overall thoughts on how the season went last year.
I really enjoyed it. So that the tournament was the first time I sort of fully went all in, invested, was subscribed, followed it through the summer. And watched the title match. Really enjoyed it. It was a great for them to put on that level of production. I felt like on the fly virtually was huge. I was at the Alex's title defense at Celebration back in 2019, and that was phenomenal. But for them to bring that sort of quality programming, that they had to sort of pivot on the fly for it was really impressive. And, that just solidified my desire to get in the middle of it. What was apparent in all of that without the lights and the glamour of the stagecraft and stuff that comes with a live show was a bunch of people just really dedicated to this tournament, to this trivia competition, and that's what I was looking for. And so I like to think I face off against Alex every single year, and it's what amounts to a 10-way sort of death match. And compared to the Schmodown, I would say Dragon Con is at or above its difficulty level. I would say above in terms of the scope of the knowledge you have to have. Schmodown is awesome because it gets into the nitty-gritty of the films. That's the kind of stuff that if you can answer some of the easier questions even in that one, your stuff backwards and forwards. Dragon Con, you've got to know the movies, you've got to know every single season of the Clone Wars, you've got to know every canon book, you've got to know every canon comic, the canon short stories that are in Star Wars Insider, all of it, and in excruciating detail. And this year was the first year. Actually, I don't know if the quiz is still online, but we did it virtually this year. It was the first year that if you weren't at Dragon Con or attending virtually, you could take the quiz, the entry quiz. That went sort of semi-viral, I would say. About, I think, 18,000 people took it. And out of that entire 18,000 pool, the average questions right was 22 out of 50. And that's a multiple choice test. So every year you have to do that test to get a seat at the table. There's nothing guaranteed. There's no, hey, you're Alex Damon, you're Thomas, come on in. You guys are guaranteed a spot. You're right there with all the other, typically it's about 300 people or so that take the quiz live. You sit in there. It's like a proctored exam on a Saturday night, and it's this insanity where everybody else is having fun at Dragon Con and you're sitting in a room taking a multiple choice test. But I love it. It's amazing. I pop my earplugs in, get down to it. Alex and Molly now are like 2 rows away from me, like staring each other down as we go through this. All that does is get you to the starting line, no matter how well you do. And so this year was the first year where the public got to see exactly what goes down. It's 10 people, the top 10 scores. You make the finals, and then it's 3 rounds. And the number of questions you get right, unlike the Schmodown, really doesn't matter. So there's no TKOs or KOs if you're way out ahead of anybody else. Really, all you're doing is just surviving to the next round. So first round is like the guy that runs it structures it like the National Geography bee, which probably nobody knows how that's run, but it's A/B multiple choice in rounds of themed questions. So you get 15 of those. Typically, the margin for error is 1 question wrong. You can get 1 wrong and you might make it to the next round. You get 2 and you're probably out. Second round, multiple choice drops away. It's all visual ID. So you get a whiteboard just like the Schmodown. A picture goes up of a character, a ship, a weapon, something from Star Wars, and you got to name it. And it's timed. And out of that, you get about 15 questions there. The top 3 move on. It's a clean slate again. You're all even. It doesn't matter how many you've gotten right. And it's total sudden death at that point. So it really is that's the tournament that I prep for every single year. And it's every single year since Disney took over Star Wars, the pool of available questions has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And like my stress level gets higher and higher and higher. Like this High Republic stuff that just launched a couple days ago is like the bane of my existence, because that's going to be a question pot. The deciding question this past year, if you watched it, was the identity of a clone pilot in an episode of the Clone Wars in season 2. So way back from like 2009. So anyhow, it's a lot to but I love it. It's amazing. And, you know, it's one of those things where Alex and I, more often than not, are the 2 that are left standing, slugging it out for the title there. He's won it once. I've won it twice, and I've beaten him 2 other times. Just edging him out. I've never finished less than 3rd in 6 years in that competition. But it's awesome. It's just, I live for it, and the opportunity to take it into the Schmodown is awesome. But I think if I had a message for the other folks that aren't Dragon Con, that haven't been through the Dragon Con experience, Alex is where he is. Not that the Schmodown is easy, but because when he comes into the Schmodown, his focus is narrowed. Other folks like treat the 9 movie. Well, it's more than 9 now. It's 11, 12 at this point. They treat those movies. It's a lot of ground to cover. It's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of material, a lot of quotes, a lot of characters, all that sort of stuff. For me, coming into this, that's a relief to just focus on those films. Right? It's amazing. I look forward to facing off against somebody that's never had to study The Mandalorian, that's never had to study 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, right? It's the brain space that I have available to go to battle here is a lot more. So, you know, the Alex knows this. I think that's the reason he's sat atop that Star Wars division throne. But he knows me. We go way back. Alex and I are good friends. But when it comes to trivia, the gloves come off.
Absolutely.
This is exciting. This is like, I mean, I'm kind of hyped. This seems to me like we've kind of got a new contender.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Look, there are a lot of other talented people. I will say that the moment that sticks in my head, Andres Cabrera had an amazing question that he got right in, was it semis or quarters of the tournament? A very, very obscure quote from The Last Jedi, the parking violation that Finn and Rose got cited with there on Canto Bight. Mm-hmm. I sat back. I was like, that's one I didn't know. I didn't study. I had hats off to him. So there's a lot of talent in that division. But if anybody there is watching right now, you're looking at somebody that's unburdened coming into this arena. So I hope that I get drafted. I genuinely hope that I get on a team with some like-minded folks. But I'm not here to mess around, and I've got a lot less work to do. Or a lot more time to focus my efforts on where the Schmodown focuses, as opposed to worrying about some random short story in Insider or this or that.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, my strength on this show is mostly just asking folks about which Greek or Egyptian gods they prefer. But we'll shift that to the side for a hot second and talk to you a little bit, because not only do you have that advantage of being able to focus a little bit more outside of the general Star Wars canon onto the movies, but you are also someone who's got live event experience, which a lot of people don't have, partially because, it's usually only the big dogs that even get invited to those live events. But also, we're kind of in a point in time where there are not a lot of live things that happen generally. Right. So I was kind of curious as well, talking about your strengths as someone who's kind of been in those live environments, as someone who's been able to kind of get that energy off the crowd. Do you feel like there's also just a very big tangible advantage that you have going over these folks who are maybe not the performers that you are, and how much are you maybe worried about that going into this new digital age of the Schmodown?
Look, I'm not worried about that at all. Before I ever got into doing anything live, I was active duty in the Army. You can imagine going through a few things that kind of erase your ability to get rattled about certain things. And so the stepping in front of a panel or an audience, whether it's a panel or trivia, is just sort of, that's fun. That's fun stuff that gets my gears going. And the finals, certainly the finals for the last 5-6 years in Dragon Con trivia, are in front of a packed house of people. Funny enough, before I knew Alex, I just knew him as the guy that inexplicably had a huge cheering section in the audience. I had no idea he had a YouTube channel. Like, we hadn't met. He was just, I knew he was my nemesis because we met, there every year at Labor Day. And for some reason, he had a whole lot of friends. And then I kind of cracked the code and figured it out. But it doesn't bug me at all. It doesn't bug me being with a hostile audience. I've even in the virtual environment, I presented at San Diego Comic-Con virtually earlier this year. I've done several different sort of live convention type events where the events have pivoted over to the virtual format. And then I regularly talk Star Wars in a variety of ways. You guys have an awesome podcast. I have a couple Star Wars ones that I'm involved in, and it's, when you're the guy, you're the guy, or when you're the girl that knows the stuff, knows the material, and get relied on to talk it in detail. You got to step up on a regular basis. So
yeah, I was going to ask, before I got actually, Sol, do you have any question for Tom?
I was going to say I had the opportunity to actually watch the Dragon Con virtual thing last year, and the amount of knowledge that all of the people there had blew my mind. And I like to think that I know Star Wars well, and I was like, I could not hold a candle to any of these guys. So for someone that does have to have all of that Star Wars knowledge for Dragon Con, how are you going to push all of that aside to just be like, okay, only movies, and make sure that you're not making a mistake that, that was in the book, but that wasn't in the movie, or that was in this form of the cartoon, but not in the movie? Or how are you going to make sure to focus only on the movies for the Schmodown?
That's a great question. And I think you have to keep it compartmentalized. The way I approach it is in buckets. So I have internally in my brain, and the way I approach prepping for this stuff, I have to structure it. My day job is a lawyer, and so with that, I had a bar exam once upon a time that required consuming a bunch of knowledge and then figuring out how to use that in a time crunch on the bar exam. And I approach Star Wars trivia the same way. And so I think there's a movie bucket in my mind. There's a movie bucket in my trivia, the strategy that I use to prep. And, it's like turning switches off. So, if I don't need the Clone Wars knowledge, I just turn that switch off. If they happen to add something like The Mandalorian to the question pool that we're going to have to answer, that switch just gets turned back on. So it's sort of like the bottom of a ship where they've got compartments that kind of seal out water and stuff like that. That's at least how I like to think my brain works.
Interesting.
Very lucky, very lucky that your brain works that way.
I remember seeing them forms that you fill in for the Dragon Con. I think I tried to do it, and I tapped out after about 10. I was like, no, this ain't fun. This is even for me, hardcore Star Wars fan, own podcast. I was like, no, this is enough. So I appreciate what you're saying there.
You have to be a glutton for punishment. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, something like that.
It really is.
It makes you think like, oh my god, like I'm not enough of a fan if I can't get through this kind of thing. So it's that hard. But I was just going to say before, well, as well, Chris in the chat, Chris has a Schmoedown podcast as well, so give him a shout as well on his show. But the have you thought who manager-wise, which faction-wise you'd like to go to? Because you know, a lot of the factions, you know, you guys will train together. You have to support other players, that kind of thing. You know, there might be 2 Star Wars tournaments this year. Christian has mentioned, so it might be worth considering which manager you want to go with. You know, to be managed throughout the season, that kind of thing. Have you thought who you might fit well with?
Yeah, I think a lot of that depends on I am a rookie in the truest sense, right? So I am learning and figuring all of this stuff out as I go. And I will be the first to confess that my knowledge, especially when it comes to non-Star Wars division material and how the managers have interacted with their non-Star Wars player, is pretty limited. And so, you know, if a manager is out there and wants to reach out to me and just have like a friendly chat, I'm all for that. I would love to just talk, no stakes, you know, no promises necessary. I realize my place on, you know, very low on the totem pole, having not proven myself in this league. So, but I'd love to get to know some folks. That said, I think my concept for a team, in talking to Laura Kelly, she and I, you know, are virtual friends, I would say. I met her for the first time at the 2019 tournament, but you know, her advice to me was, you know, aim to get on a team with like-minded folks. And I'd like to think that everybody that's doing this and using their free time to play in something like this is like that. But I realize not everybody thinks the same way. So, you know, it would be great to get on a team with more than one Star Wars player. I realize there's been some massive rule changes that might make that a possibility, that a manager out there might think about, you know, stacking 2 Star Wars players on a team. I don't know if that makes sense strategically. I'm sure you guys have put more thought into strategy angles like that than I have. But it would be nice to be on a team at a baseline where folks are rowing in the same direction. I think it's all too easy for folks to sort of focus in on what they want to do and what they want to accomplish, and sort of not to the detriment of the team, but just sort of let the other team members do their own thing. And certainly there could be managers out there with a style that's like laissez-faire, like, hey, I'll let you do your thing. You've got your method for getting prep. Don't let me get in the way of that. I want to learn. Every year I learn something at Star Wars Trivia, and it's always humbling. So I have a lot to learn from the managers, from other folks, whether they've played a single match in the Star Wars division or not. And I'm looking to get on that kind of team that's like a supportive net underneath me. And, you know, to the extent that I'm able to stack some points onto the team's total, even if it's just a few, you know, I'm happy to do that. But at the end of the day, if you come back and I'm on the show again at the end of 2021, a success will be like getting on a team where I'm friends with all the folks now. And you know, if we've won, that's amazing. But, you know, we damn well would have pushed each other to do the best. So that's all I can ask for.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
pretty
And
sure
you definitely have. Oh, sorry, but it just seems to be like you have like mad vibes of people who would be on the dungeon. Like you do not need anyone to tell you what to do. You have your way of doing things, and it could be infectious to other people. I'm sure you don't want to get into like your like study habits aside from just like absorbing everything Star Wars that there is, because I know that in itself is a study habit of just staying up to date. Like I went to Barnes and Noble on Tuesday and bought the High Republic, but that doesn't mean that I'm absorbing it like at the same rate as other people are. Like Alex Damon already, you know, he had the copy in advance and has already probably read it 3 or 4 times and knows everything there is to know about, you know, every time period before the impact that we could possibly have, and he already knows everything about it. But it just seems to be that you bring this kind of vibe of like, look, I know what I know, and I know what I know, and you can kind of just get out of my way. And that's something to me that I smell 2 factions. I smell the Exchange and I smell the Dungeon. And that to me is like, the Exchange really could use a bit of like, you got a bit of class with you too. I could tell. You mentioned you have a lawyer background, very well polished. Something the Schmodown needs, something that faction could need a bit of, is cleaning up a bit of its side. Oh, well, I can see John's face. John,
Well,
what do you
yeah,
got?
I mean, I was gonna say, like, you know, he was talking about how he doesn't necessarily want a faction that's laissez-faire. I'm pretty sure laissez-faire is an anagram for Finstock Exchange, so I don't think that's necessarily the faction you're gonna want to go to.
Sure.
But I was kind of curious as well, talking a lot about, you know, kind of the vibes that you maybe would be able to mesh with as far as factions go. I was kind of curious, again, because you were talking about watching that tournament. Are there any players that maybe you're a little bit more interested in getting that chance in the ring with? Obviously, you were talking about how Ace had that one question that you were like, oh man, I just didn't know that. So is like he a player that you're like, I'd really love to be able to go up against him? Is there someone, you know, maybe a Molly Damon, maybe a Laura Kelly? Like, which are the folks that you're like, ooh, I really just want to be able to go one-on-one with them?
I would give a shout out to Molly, because she has become, in recent years, a really phenomenal Star Wars trivia player, and certainly the chance to get to go up against her head to head or otherwise in the Schmodown would be awesome. I get the opportunity to go against her every year at Dragon Con, and I say every year because she's that good that I can count on her to nail that 50 question test, get a spot at the table. So you know, I will not look past an opportunity to go up against Molly. I will say Laura is the person I really want to go against. Laura's a great person. I love her persona on the Schmodown, but I want to meet strength with strength, right? She's one of the most impressive players that's out there. I think she barely got edged by Alex. She gave him probably the closest run for his money that I'm aware of in recent memory, and she's an outstanding, dedicated player that doesn't mess around. She does not play. I think we're cut from the same cloth in that she's confident in what she knows. She's going to sit in that stool or in that chair, look at you and say, look, you either know it or you don't. I know it, and so you better bring it. And that's what I appreciate in a competitor. That's always what I've seen in Alex and Molly. So it'd be awesome to get to go against her.
Yes, this is. I mean, I'm excited. This is nice. This is cool. I mean, Star Wars Division. It just kind of, what was interesting about this year was just it seemed like everyone kind of got drafted, and then boom, the world fell apart, and then bam, the Star Wars tournament happened, and suddenly it was all these people competing against each other. And we didn't really get a lot of time to meet these players. The only person in the division who really had some form of a following in the Schmodown would have been Ace, just from being, you know, an intern with the Schmoes and kind of having a backing and a following. And it was just so awesome to see just everyone kind of trailblaze their way into being household names in this league. Like Di Malanta taking his way all the way, taking his name all the way to the finals. You know, Laura Kelly putting up that fight against Alex Damon. These are players who came in and just made a name. And Thomas, it seems like you are on your way to making a name in this league just from the way you carry yourself. I mean, this is not normal for most Schmodown competitors. I mean, to be, a lot of times people come in here and they're bumbling over their words, coming just in the Schmodown in general, just the first times. Yeah, I would watch out if your first match is against Mr. Harper over here. I would be very, very afraid. This is not someone that I would want to run into. Boggs, I don't even think you and I, the dyad in the Force, could take on this man ourselves.
That's our team name in the Fan Leagues, by the way. Yeah, your mic's too good for a rookie, even, I've noticed. Normally they have like a,
it's better than a seasoned vet.
Yeah, like exactly. But no, it's super exciting. And obviously, don't forget, Star Wars Tournament last season was on Twitch live. The final was in front of 12,000 people watching live at the time. So, you could be exposed to a huge audience here. Obviously, pressure comes with that, but you said obviously you're used to that. But yeah, by the way, can you play in any other division potentially, like in a geekdom, like singles? If you thought maybe teams, because for extra kind of reason for manager to potentially draft you.
Yeah, that would take some work. I think with a teams match or inner geekdom, I think are two that are attractive to me. That being said, inner geekdom in particular, those players are impressive. I don't get rattled or nervous when it comes to Star Wars trivia. I watch some of those Inner Geekdom matches, and I sit back and just have to tip my hat. I watched a match, trying to think who Alex was playing against, but
when he
all
lost,
of the, I can't recall when it was. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings questions alone, I was sitting there like, I watched those movies 1,000 times, and it sounds like you're speaking Mandarin to me. I have no clue. And they're just rolling them off as if they're nothing, like they're tattooed on their forearms or something like that. So, yeah, it would take a lot of work. I think my focus this year is going to be build my credibility, prove that if a team drafts me, that it was worth the pick wherever I land, and that I have and deserve a seat at the table for Star Wars. If that bridges into something else, that's an honor. I'm happy to do the work to do that, but I've got a block of wood in front of me that needs to be chopped, and that's Star Wars.
There we go.
I love it. This is exactly what we're looking for in this division. This is exactly the kind of competitive spirit that this league needs. My fellow hosts, any other questions for Mr. Harper before we let him go?
I mean, how do you stand on McClunky? Because it's crazy because I remember watching like the old VHS in my home and just watching that version on Disney Plus. I was just like, oh, no, not all this. And then that was really the crown jewel on top of everything, huh?
My first time watching Star Wars was a bootleg VHS that my dad recorded off of like TBS, I think, or Fox, with the commercials included. I just thought that the commercials were part of the movie at like age 5. And that was non-special edition. My first time seeing it in theaters was the special edition, and then with it seems like every single release DVD or the original DVD release, the subsequent DVD releases, Blu-ray, they've tacked or just changed a little bit. So my entire life has been like just getting used to small changes in Star Wars, and I think my brain's grown numb to it. I like my favorite thing. A good friend of mine who runs the Dragon Con Star Wars trivia, as part of a extracurricular thing, he wrote like a language analysis of McClunky and analyzing it in canon in the context of other Huttese words and other Star Wars languages to break down exactly what and it sounds exactly as nerdy as it is. And I emailed him back and I was like, that is like 20 minutes of my life that I will never forget, and I want to print and frame this thing because it's ridiculous, and that's why I love Star Wars so much, because like I feel like we're all in that same boat of like, it's our life. We just talk about this stuff, and we're just in a galaxy far away. At least I am 7 days a week. So
absolutely.
Well,
I get
the
it.
final
That's
question before we let you go: your favorite Star Wars movie and your favorite Star Wars character.
Vader, without question, is my favorite Star Wars character, and
Easy.
in my audition, I think it was my audition video, not my call out of Alex, but I said, look, to the other folks that are in the division that have played before, and to the other folks in the draft, with the exception of the 2 Dragon Con rookies who know me, this is going to be like the scene at the end of Rogue One where Vader lights up his saber on the Profundity. Except there's no Leia to save you at the end of the day. There's no Tana V4 to fly you out of there. You're in the hallway and you're with me. So Vader, by far, from the very first time I saw him walk onto Leia's ship there in A New Hope, I was an instant fan of his. As a kid, Jedi was my favorite movie of all time. It still holds that number 2 spot. But as an adult, I would say Empire, to the end of days. So, but I'm one where I hesitate to rank. I look at it like, if I've got a couple hours to sit down and watch some Star Wars, what am I more likely to watch? And that's usually Empire or Jedi.
This is my first time learning that the ship is called the Profanity. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty good one.
I just got one last thing before I give it to Sol, and then we can let you go. Do you have a name, like a Star Wars name, a alias, that kind of thing you thought about?
No, in fact, I was listening to or watching Behind the Schmodown, and Christian was talking, and he said one of the things he noticed in a lot of these audition tapes were people that had like picked their own name, and he was like, "Look, you don't get to pick it. Like, well, that gets figured out separately. So I won't presume what to call myself, but I know what I know, and that's." As far as I'm concerned, that's the important stuff. That's my lightsaber that I light up when I step into the ring. So if I get a cool name, that'd be awesome. If he gives me something dorky, I'll work with it, and we'll deal with it.
That's awesome, man. We love the passion. Me, Sol, and Colin are hardcore Star Wars fans, so love the passion and hope you get drafted. But Sol, any final words?
It's my comment there was, I think we see a heel. So is it going to be a red lightsaber that is ignited when you come into this this tournament in this league?
I like that, and I will tell you that Laura does the heel pitch perfect. I think she did a heel turn this season. I loved that. So I don't want to ape off of her, but when the other player sees me coming in whatever the match is, they should just know. So they better have come prepped. That's all I have to say.
I love it.
Well,
Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Yeah, this has been fantastic. Thomas, don't be a stranger. Followed you on the Twitters. We'll be around, man. Good luck this season. Good luck in the draft. Yep. We'll be following you, man. You made a hell of an impression tonight on some folks who love some Star Wars. So coming on here, man, we appreciate you. Have a good night. May the Force be with you, brother. We'll see you on the other side.
With you too.
Thank you, man.
Well, guys, I mean, that was first impressions of that was just, oh man, this guy knows what is up. He is in it to win it. This is just a vibe and a half. And I'm going to take a step back for a second. We're going to bring Matt Thomas on. John, take over. We're going to talk about just the draft in general coming up this season and the changes that are going to be made into the league. We got rosters expanding as well. We haven't talked about that. Going to 12 players a team now. So this is going to get crazy. Let's bring the Master Matt back on. Boom. And Colin is...
Oh, fair enough.
Where does he keep going?
I don't know where he's going now.
Maybe he's sneaking in some bites of food, him.
He's flying the profanity
Guy in the
himself
chat,
at
tell
this
us where
point.
Colin keeps going.
Yes,
Oh boy. Yeah. I don't know how you guys are feeling about this roster addition, because I was thinking about that and I know we haven't talked about it.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like it doesn't make a lot of sense, because already, even with 10 people on the lineup, we're not seeing a lot of those people get play generally.
I'm going to disagree with you right there for the single point of you're getting 2 extra people per faction. You lost 1 faction. The size of the league is not changing at all. It's staying the same. If anything, the league was about to get smaller by those 16 spots or whatever.
Yeah.
So
8 times 2.
Yeah.
Some math.
Yeah. Sorry, it's late. I'm tired. It's late, but yeah. I mean, so what? You're realistically adding six extra people. It's not much. So, on top of it, basically 2 extra people. Cool. We also announced we're getting 3 matches a week. So you're going to see more of these people playing than you did this last year. And remember, there was like a 3-month span there where we got no Schmodown besides what was pre-paid.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's something I had completely forgotten as well. The additional matches, I think you're absolutely right that is going to be a key detail as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, kudos to you for, I guess, being smarter than me. I feel like I have to say that to most people that come on this show, is most people are just smarter than me. But yeah, Sol, kind of thinking about that, what would you say should, I guess, be the focus as far as managers, trying to balance out that singles versus teams versus Inner Geekdom versus Star Wars? Like, how do you think people should be trying to approach this? Do you think they should be trying to get more than one Star Wars player? Do you think that they need to be putting more focus into Inner Geekdom versus singles and teams, the more mainstream options? What are you thinking?
So when we saw last year's draft, we saw different managers have different approaches. You had Kaiser, who was like, I'm going the Inner Geekdom route. I'm going to have Inner Geekdom. I'm going to have Adam Witt with Star Wars. It was very heavy in that, and it didn't work out for him. It could have, like, he played his game, and it didn't work out for him. It could have, but it didn't. And then you have others who were more balanced out. You saw Winston's faction had a place for everyone. You had a Star Wars person, you had an Inner Geekdom person, you had people for teams and singles. You saw that with the Rockstars, where you had people for each division. You saw that with Corruption, where you had two people who are triple threats, and then you have Laura Kelly, who's like, I'll just deal with the Star Wars stuff for you here, while they go do their Chance and Mike go do their thing in all three divisions. And so I think it's best to have that balance, which something as we talk about in Star Wars all the time. You need that balance. And Cobra Kai as well. We talked about balance. And so I think the best thing is for a manager to go, who is going to be my top player for each division? And can I draft someone who can be my top player in 2, maybe 3 divisions?
Absolutely. I think it's interesting. I think my thoughts have kind of come to a point where definitely each player, or each manager rather, should definitely try and look for that number one crown jewel for each division. But I think one of the weaknesses that we've seen of of Sam Levine, really, just the only manager where he was just kind of like, cool, let me get that one A-tier player, and then I guess some other people. Where I think a lot of folks are now kind of realizing that absolutely try and get those top-tier folks if you can get them, but you should also really be thinking about maybe some of those more mid-tier players who you know are going to get a little bit more play and are going to be able to get you some wins on the board. Boggs, do you feel like that's a fair critique I'm making? Because I know I've ragged on Sam a little bit, and we all love Sam. We all love Sam. I'll say I like Sam. I'm just saying he made a big oops inside of his managerial pants.
I mean,
Boggs,
that was my
go
first
ahead,
Schmodown
Matt.
interview. That was my first Schmodown interview, actually, at Wizard World this year. So,
oh, wow. How about that, man?
Sam?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, it's hard to say because, yeah, you would think numbers-wise, okay, you could kind of draft 2 players from every division, technically, but the issue is we don't know how many tournaments there'll be as well, because, you know, we're hearing there might be potentially 2 Inner Geekdom tournaments, potentially 2 Star Wars tournaments, so maybe that might be enough to draft 2 people in, plus other matches here and there. Obviously, managers will be privy to that. Can you just turn your Xbox off?
No, he just got that Sam Levine interview achievement, man. He can't
Turn the
turn it
TV off, Matt. Just turn the TV off. Just turn the TV. Yeah.
No, I'm just playing. Don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that we don't know the actual schedule. Obviously, managers will be privy to that, maybe you would think. So they kind of know or have an idea, but it is like a constant battle. Like, do you stick with, like, for example, Roxy? Do you draft another Star Wars player? I mean, you would think so because maybe Alex might play less matches and, you know, you're going to need someone to put in the tournaments. But how strong do you want them really? Like, they might face up against Alex. It is a balance thing, like I was saying. But, yeah, it is a tough one. But I would, if it was me, I mean, just right now, obviously, I don't know the actual full-on schedule, but I'd probably try and get 2 players per division. Yeah, like I would probably draft 2 Star Wars players.
Well, Boggs.
Especially if you're Roxy too, and that part, because that was something she had to make a trade to get a Star Wars player to play in the tournament last year,
yeah.
so she could pick someone that knows Alex Damon pretty well next year, and that could have 2 great players who do great at Dragon Con. So that's something. If Roxy Stryer, if you're listening,
we've seen where it hasn't paid off with Kaiser. With Parker and Smets, and we've seen where it has paid off in Corruption with, with Chance and Mike and stuff. So it is about that balance. Luck comes into it as well. Maybe drafting right. So, you know, there's all these little factors come into it. You know, that's why kind of, Winston and Shannon's at the top this year because these guys have got these things right. But obviously, it's a different game next year. But sorry, Matt, what were you saying?
Well, I was about to say, Christian on Backstage this week mentioned the fact that we're probably going to get Star Wars Wednesdays, or just one of each division besides teams for now, going forward for the beginning of the season. So you're going to get 1 Star Wars a week, 1 IG a week, and 1 singles a week. Okay. So you're going to want to get 2 Star Wars players. You're going to want to get 2 to 3 IG players because there's going to be more burn on those than there normally is.
Yeah. And I think kind of going off of that, Matt, how often do you think we're maybe going to see more kind of inter-faction matches? Because I don't think we got a lot of that beyond maybe Chance versus Kalinowski this year. Do you think we're going to see a little bit more?
We got a stock exchange last year, actually.
That's true, yeah. Well, especially kind of in those earlier days before I think we really kind of nailed down the
Yeah.
faction setting. Obviously, it was a lot of that. But I guess, yeah, is that how we started the year? Or I guess we had the Merle versus
Yeah,
Bibiani versus...
which was still in faction fighting technically, but that was by Quirky Merc's choice.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get less of it actually, because if you want to boil it down, how Christian's, at least from the outside looking in, how it looks like he's building this is the fact that I'm giving you these two extra spots. Do with them as you may. By giving people 2 extra spots, that gives managers a little bit more wiggle room, which say they do draft 2 Star Wars players. If each team has 2 Star Wars players, that gives you 16 Star Wars players, a lot more room to work with, and making sure in-faction fighting doesn't happen unless maybe, say, it's like a championship match or a semifinals match. You're not going to get that as much right away.
That's why Matt's the man in charge, because he can do that math. And I've done math maybe twice. Oh, I don't know how I became the numbers guy on this show. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't mesh with my whole vibe. I guess it's just because I take some notes, but I don't know any math, you guys. I mean, we can talk. I guess we should probably save my math failings for another show. But Boggs, what are you thinking right now, man? As far as your biggest hopes, let's say, for the Star Wars division, for the Inner Geekdom division, knowing that we're going to be able to see a lot more matches from these kind of maybe less looked upon divisions, just because, again, I think a lot of folks still tend to tune in primarily to singles and teams. What are you most hoping to see kind of coming into these more regular Inner Geekdom and Star Wars matches?
Yeah, I would love Star Wars to be the premier division of the game. Obviously Star Wars being my favorite franchise, my kind of heart's in that. So I would love that. But yeah, I mean, just generally, to be fair, John, I mean, I thought my favorite matches last year were the Star Wars and Inner Geekdom tournament, basically, into the Star Wars tournament. So I didn't think it was. I think that was at the kind of height of the game, and I want that to continue on this season. Obviously, I did like the teams tournament and the singles tournament, but I preferred them 2 tournaments. There was more edge on my seat stuff. So I prefer that. But what I'm most looking forward to this year is Jeff Snyder beating Dan Morrow. That's what I want. He's got his match.
How dare you?
He's going to win that number 1 good title. He's going to whoop Adam Collins and get that belt back.
Thank you, man.
Snatch it from him. And
I gotta be with Boggs. I agree with Boggs.
Can we meet Soul?
It's my first show, man.
I've never been more motivated to go up against someone in Movie Trivia Schmodown than right now with you, Boggs. I swear to God.
Oh,
told you, I'm a
we could
Schneider
probably
shield.
do
All
Boggs.
right, Matt, you want to do 5 questions real quick? We'll trade off questions right now. Let's
Sam
go. Let's do
Rockwell.
it.
Boom.
Between us giving them questions? Oh, hell
Yeah, let's give them questions. You get 3, I get 2. Let's do it right now. Right now.
Pull up my doc.
Let's go.
I have a doc too for helping to train.
Let's
Robo
do it.
and his Patreon. So
Hey John, don't write a check that pretty little tush can't cash, my friend. All right.
Stop looking at my butt.
I look at it too much.
What kind of questions you want to give them? Just any random?
That's my
one?
nickname.
Any
John the
random
Butt Bart.
questions.
That's probably
No-
why I didn't
no-
get drafted.
no, I'm gonna give you guys a young adult question. Let me
who's getting
young adult
you?
adaptation.
This is
RJ Wolf.
Boggs versus John Barr
Oh,
in a
okay.
5-question winner take all
Okay.
You got
Friday
your whiteboard,
night
boys?
throwdown
Mm-hmm.
title
This is
of
the
random
ultimate-
ass questions. I'm
Matt,
gonna
I
look
feel
around
bad. I
and
feel like
Funko
I just
Pops.
gave you homework.
Dude, this is what
This is what
I'm
Matt does for a
champion-
living.
Well, I was about to say I'm a champion of a fan league and I helped run it. So this is nothing. This is what I like to do.
We're about to throw down right now, folks. Welcome into the Friday night movie trivia showdown, throwdown, go down. That's what's about to happen here.
Oh boy.
As hold on. We can do a little intro.
This ain't no what real entertainment.
Boggs, you got a pretty little shirt on. It's over there flashing the screen and
I
whatnot.
had a meeting
Come on now.
before I finished. Yeah.
I know, but you look all nice and stuff. So introducing first
Well. Yeah.
the man out of Nottingham.
Sure.
I believe fighting. Yeah, I believe you would fight
Is
out
he a
of
sheriff?
Sheriff of Nottingham, love it.
Wow. Okay.
can do
That's
that.
a film
wow.
reference.
Wow.
Yes.
Wait. Okay. Yes. It is pretty brown. Boggs making his way to the floor. Whoop, whoop, Let's do it. Fighting. Born and raised
It's
in the streets
Long shot.
of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Training in Los Angeles, California. It is Mr.
Oh, I got you.
Encyclopedia John Brown.
That's not my last name. That's not even close to anything.
Brown, yeah, I know,
You
Encyclopedia
just made
Brown.
up-
That's what I was doing. I know.
How
I was
about
giving
this?
you a
How about
character.
this? How about that? John. Jawbreaker Bar.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Soul, you up with your question you got?
I got a question for you guys.
Do we
This
give
is-
them one repeat for the 5 questions? Just one that they can use?
Just one.
Just
do
one.
you have to write these down?
Yeah, neither of us have things to write
Nope.
things down on. So
I don't think you're gonna cheat.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they need to be able. Writing them down is smart.
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, get your
I've got
whiteboards,
something.
boys.
Oh boy.
You guys know I've got a whiteboard.
All right.
I know you.
Boggs is like,
man.
I've had
I
this
can't even-
whiteboard waiting for months.
I'm ready.
even hear because I had to step all the way
Look at this. This is great. Oh, and I love this.
And
Sean
this is
hasn't
what
been
you get on
here.
the
Sean
Ultimate
doesn't know the
Showdown show.
debauchery that's going on. The producer doesn't even know.
I just got
We've
D&D
taken over the show.
character.
The
Sorry, Sean.
inmates are running the
I got
asylum.
D&D character info all up in my space. All right,
The
now I
last
can hear
D&D
anything.
character I made, I inspired him off of Invincible and Superboy.
Nice.
It was like a combination of like the innocence of Superboy with the insane fight and drive of Invincible. But
Scott,
Colin,
folks,
you got the
Same as
15
Invincible.
seconds? You got the timer?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go first in the category of YA adaptations.
Mhm.
Who plays the character of Madame Zeroni in Holes?
Answers in the chat.
I
Anyone?
know this motherfucker. And then
Tell me when. Yeah, tell.
4, 3, 2, 1. John Barr.
Okay,
Here's a person I remember from that movie, Sigourney Weaver.
That is incorrect.
that is incorrect.
I don't remember. I said Sharon Stone.
No,
false. The answer is Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt.
Catwoman herself.
Eartha Kitt.
All right.
Come on.
Okay, you gotta go with the next
Wait. You got to go dig them holes. Dig them up on dig it. Dig them up on
All right, question two. In the category of Spielberg, what 2 comedic actors play Thompson and Thompson in the Adventures of Tintin?
That's not right.
You gotta give him some give me's, Colin. Don't go.
She just said Madame Zeroni and holes, my friend, and you go Tintin. Like, come on. Come on,
You gotta give
man.
him a few give me's. Looks
Come
like Boggs is struggling.
on,
In 5,
man.
4, 3, 2, 1. Boggs, what do you got?
I don't remember. I said John C. Riley.
Nope. Bar.
Ed, and Eddie.
I'm not that crazy. We're looking for Nick Frost and Simon Pegg.
Oh, I thought Simon Pegg played the captain. I don't know why I thought. Oh, I started writing that.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess you throw it over to me.
Yeah.
In the category of comedy, what actor what actor portrays school I guess official or Chancellor Pritchard in the film Old School? Who plays the school official that is constantly trying to make sure that the fraternity does not succeed?
Only
If you know what I've been watching this week, that's a key. That's
if
a
we
key
know,
over
if
the
we know
last
what you're
week.
watching all the time, or what
Oh.
These
you're
supposed to be 1-pointers? If
Five,
who started in Old School would be a
four,
1-pointer, not who
three,
plays the principal.
2, 1.
He didn't even
I'm
know
on.
what it was. He didn't even know if it was principal or proctor. He didn't even know.
I don't
guess
know. I
John
don't
C.
know.
Riley.
No.
That would have been lit.
I said J.K. Simmons, so I just guessed.
No, that would also would have been lit. We're looking for Jeremy Piven. Jeremy Piven.
Okay,
oh,
next
yeah,
question,
it is
boys.
possible.
We're gonna go to the category of animation.
Star Wars. Oh.
You're not getting a Star Wars question here.
McClunky.
In the movie Monsters Inc., what does CDA stand for?
I got this one for Oscars coming up next. Ooh. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boggs.
No idea. Cute dumb animal.
John Barr.
I tried to go off context clues. Is it Child Defense Administration?
It is
Very
Child
close.
Protection Agency.
All right.
You get a third of a point. A third of a point to John Barr. A third of a point.
All right.
Point
And your
3 points repeating.
And your final question in the world of Oscars. What famous musician was nominated for 3 Academy Awards for Best Original Song in 1995? Could you get this one, Colin?
I was pretending like I was paused to delay my response, but I
And
That was a good
know I
one. Yeah, I
could.
should
Well,
put it, actually, yeah.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Sting?
John Barr. Nope.
Harry Styles.
No. 1995? Really?
He wasn't even born
You
yet.
didn't even try. You didn't even try. Boggs, if you don't get this one, I'm taking your English card.
Listen, there's a reason why I've won in the Really Trivia Showdown. Elton John.
And you're a winner!
Yes. You see? You see? Don't mess.
Going 1 out of 5 is
Don't mess.
Does that count as a win? Does that count as a win for 1 out of 5?
A win is.
I mean, I got .333, but still.
Hey,
Guys,
But I think it's only fair. So Boggs, I think, Matt, I think it's only fair. Let's do me versus Soul,
I would
and
say,
then winner plays Boggs, and it's just Friday night.
I'm terrible, so I'm going to lose, and it's going to be a match against the Diet of the Force
I
here.
would,
Honey,
I would normally say yes, but I actually have another show I got to be on in like 10 minutes.
That's
well, it's
more
good.
than
We
fair.
can do it faster than that.
Let's just say I won. Okay. Because
Wow.
That
Wow.
sounds
Hey,
good.
Boggs. Hey, Boggs.
How-
Who played
here-
Darwin in G-Force?
Here, I will.
Yeah,
give,
that's what I thought.
how about-
That's
how
what
about
I
give
thought.
You, how about I give you and Boggs a 5-question rematch? Because I know you want redemption for that. Because I can do that. I got enough
Thank
time.
you.
for
Yes, I'll take it.
I got a question for you guys lined up if we want to go with the.
Go-
I'm gonna
go ahead and
give
start
you
off.
I'm gonna give you a gimme question. If you guys don't get this right, I'm gonna be very upset.
Up to you,
In-
Colin. Oh, you ready? Oh.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Because in the category
Why is everyone picking on me? What? Sorry, carry.
of sports,
Oh.
what movie has the tagline, "A woman's place is on home, first, second, and third"?
Oh, no. What's it called?
Really, John?
I can picture it in my head. It's got her in it. Oh!
And then 5,
Wait, are you even
Cool.
playing?
Yes. He
2,
didn't specify who the rematch was
1.
against.
All right. Yes, I did. I said Colin and
It's
said
wait,
Colin
no,
Boggs.
me and John have teamed up. This is awesome.
It's
All
a
right.
three-way match now.
Oh God. Go ahead. What you got, Colin?
A league of their
Their
own.
own. Yes, a league of their own, right there.
A league of their own.
Yeah. You're
I
not
didn't have
playing.
it. I didn't have it.
What?
Boggs! I'm
Disappointed,
sorry,
Boggs.
it wasn't a soccer
I don't
question.
know baseball movies.
Matt,
sorry,
just
guys.
you try to stop me from answering these questions.
I'm not going to keep your score. All right. In the category of musicals, how many of the main characters in 2005's Rent were reprised by members of the original Broadway cast? Yeah.
Is this a 5-point match or like or 5 point as well?
I'm pretty sure I'm right. You know, sometimes I'm like pretty sure, and sometimes I'm like really sure.
2, 1. Bodge, what you got?
I said 1.
That is incorrect.
One! Nobody would have
Well, I think
watched it.
Colin,
Fuck, I said 4.
you were closer. It was 6.
Oh, really? Oh, the only one was Angel. The only one replaced was Angel?
Was Angel was the original Angel. It was Maureen, and she's the only one.
Oh, that's because no, Rosario Dawson was definitely not
Rosario,
in.
Rosario and Maureen.
So the answer is 5.
No, excuse me, it was not Maureen. Maureen's partner. So it's Maureen's partner and Rosario Dawson. Because
So it's 5. The answer is 5.
It's 6. 'Cause you have Benny, Mark, Roger, Angel.
Jesus, there's so many people in that movie.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Maureen's
Idina
partner
Menzel's
wasn't
character, which is Maureen, and then you have Tay Diggs. That's 6.
I also guessed 4, Colin.
Hey, you know what?
I'm champion for a reason.
525,600 million.
I'm keeping my own score, just so you
All
know.
right. What? All right. You got another question ready, Soul?
Got another one. This is in the category of video game movies. Who plays the character Nizam in Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time?
Why you gotta give me ones I know?
I'm pretty sure this is right, but I'm also pretty sure it's like very wrong. So,
This is another one where I just guess who I know.
Did anyone raise your hand if you played this on PlayStation or is it Xbox, original Xbox? Yeah. The
That's
Sands of
Matt's
Time.
Xbox. It's back there.
1. What do you got, Colin?
Is it Mark Strong?
That is incorrect.
Nope.
Damn it.
What you got?
I said Jake Gyllenhaal. Just go down.
No, you're looking for Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley.
Oh, I didn't know the character's name.
He plays the.
I can't believe
who
I don't know the
plays-
Prince of Persia sequel.
I know he's
Oh,
in it.
No,
nuts.
it's not a sequel. It's the only film in that series. All right, let's try to give you guys.
Oh, what a curveball! Oh, okay.
Easy.
Yeah,
I'm one
or
for 3
a
right
T-ball. Why don't you
If
tee one
anyone
up
was
for me,
asking.
Randy Johnson?
Who plays Tron in 1982's Tron?
Oh well,
Colin's not even attempting it.
no,
Oh my
it's
God,
not Jeff Bridges. The answer is not Jeff Bridges.
And
I know the name of the main. I know the name of his human character. I know the name of his human. His name is Alan.
1.
I know that
Right.
guy's name.
That's the human character name. Where you go?
The human is Alan.
Boggs, what do you got?
I just said Jeff Bridges. I don't know.
I
It's
guess
not
that
Jeff
too.
Bridges.
Bruce
I don't know who
Boxler.
else is in it.
Yeah, what is this? Give me some 1-pointers. What kind of league
Okay.
are you running over there?
I got another easy one for you guys then.
Let's go. Easy street.
Let's
We're
go.
on
One-
easy
Colin, you're
street.
In
winning
the
right now.
category of comedies,
Haha.
who plays Barf in Spaceballs?
Boggs won't know this. It's too on the nose. And Colin just shit a brick and forgot. Oh, this is great.
I'm gonna win. I hope you understand that. You were insistent on not keeping my
5,
score, but I'm about to win this
4, I
whole
know you
goddamn
are.
match.
3, 2,
Repeat the
1.
question.
Oh, Boggs comes in with us on the repeat. Go ahead, Soul.
Okay, who plays Barf in the category of comedies? Who plays Barf in the movie Spaceballs?
You didn't think I had it in me, did you, Box? You didn't
What?
think I had it in me, did you, Colin? You didn't think the Jawbreaker was gonna come back in a match he wasn't allowed in and win the whole goddamn thing, didn't you? You thought he wasn't gonna storm the friggin' capital
Wait,
5,
wouldn't this tie us?
of the
4,
impromptu.
3,
You and I have never played, bud.
2.
No, I just
1.
mean in this current match.
Colin, what do you got?
Get out of here. Just married. I don't know.
They're
Know
looking
what
for an
it says on
actor.
the back. That's what it says on the back of the.
I think just married play barf.
All right, go ahead, Boggs.
It's Rick Moranis. I don't know.
John Candy,
Dark
motherfucker.
Helmet.
I was
John.
gonna write John Candy. They
Candy.
didn't look like John Candy to me.
John Candy.
Damn it! I had it. God damn it!
Colin, you still
Okay.
actually beat Boggs 1-0. So
That was my
If I'm
guess.
getting 0, guys, they're tough questions. Yeah, do you not understand that? That's the game.
Come on, everyone knows Spaceballs.
right.
Damn.
That's what I said. I knew Boggs wasn't gonna get this because unless it's actual Star Wars, he doesn't get geeky questions.
All that matters is that I'm better at movie trivia than both Colin and Boggs, and it's been empirically
Wait,
proven.
wait. How many questions did you get right?
You
2.
got 2 out of 5 for that match. So
Oh, okay.
if you want to talk shit to Colin, I want to see you come into the really trivia showdown. That's what I'm.
Let's
gonna
do
say.
it. Let's do it, buddy.
On the job.
Set up a time.
All right, Colin. I think we got your next match going into the next season 2.
Challenge. I want to challenge that last question. No, I'm joking.
But on that note, I got to peace out, guys. Got this other show to go to. Thanks for having me on.
Peace.
Thanks for kicking
Yeah,
it,
man.
Matt. Thanks for being our impromptu questionnaire. And let's get some final thoughts on this upcoming draft, and we'll close out the show with the brand new squad. of the Ultimate Schmodown Show. Your current roster going into the PCU years of this show. Soul, if you're a player in this draft, what are your expectations for this league if you're a rookie? Like, would you rather be a rookie with, more ideas of grandeur, going out into the big wide world, or would you rather be a veteran who, has some idea of what's going on here? It just seems like it's anyone's game at this point.
I would like to be someone that has a little game tape. So that could be game tape that they've played a year or two in the Movie Trivia Schmodown. That could be game tape that there's stuff in the fan leagues that people have seen you play. So if I was going into the draft, I would like to have some game tape because I know people are not going to. Maybe because it's expanding to 12 people, they might take a chance on maybe 1-2 people. But I think that there's less of a chance for people that don't have any game tape.
Oh, it just seems like it could go either way for them. If you're somebody who's got the experience, most of the time, if you're not a champ, the last time they saw you was an L. So if you're a rookie, you got more chance of, showing like, here's what I can bring to your team that somebody else doesn't. Boggs, are you looking more toward? Are you more excited to see a veteran drafted to a new team or a rookie to maybe solidify a stable of players in a certain faction that's already stacked?
Unless they are a celebrity, or unless they've put the work in, then I'm looking for a veteran. So what I mean is, someone like Rick Raddus, who's put the work in on every after. We're getting to know his personality. We know he's done the fan leagues. We know he's dedicated. We know he's got a team around him that will help him study and things like that. We know obviously now Thomas has now come on the show. We know his Dragon Con story. Like we don't know these stories without these guys showing their faces, coming out after shows, that kind of thing. So I would always pick a veteran over these guys until they do that stuff. They're like, oh, okay, this guy's beaten Alex a few times. Maybe he's worth drafting. He talks well on the mic. He's got good personality. So that they would be the only reason I draft these kind of rookies, or unless they were a celebrity like Paul Waterhauser, that kind of thing. Then I would obviously take a risk on them, because that's like a once in a lifetime thing to work with some of these people. So them or the people that put the work in, or the veterans, the other people, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they've got fan league matches and stuff, but you're asking managers to do a lot there and take a risk, take a gamble without you putting the work in. So that's how I kind of would pick.
Yeah, and it's a whole new world like, I know I said this a lot last year, and before we even had this show, I was online, I was on Twitter talking it up of like, the factions are going to change everything. They're going to create a new sense of belonging in this league that just hasn't existed in this space. Because, I mean, you would have Hector Navarro or Adam Hlavic come on and be like, we're fighting for Hyper RPG, or, just like their channels and everything, and everything that they just, it was more of like, also, it kind of felt like Letterman, or, like a late night show where you'd be like, hey, I'm here to do movie trivia, but here's also the podcast that I do at the same time. And now we've just totally thrown all that to the side, and we've totally given over to this faction love that we have. And it feels like the draft this year is just going to take another step up, because I feel like you can't argue that Kaiser and Shannon won the theatrics of the draft last year, and Roxy comes in at a solid second, like a really, really, really close second. But it just seemed like Shannon and Kaiser had this vibe of like, we get what's going on. We get what the future is here. And obviously it worked for Shannon because, boom, she walks away with the faction title in the first season. John, I'll throw this over to you and say, what can some of these other factions do to really learn some lessons of yesteryear and try to move up, specifically looking at factions like the Usual Suspects, the dungeon? Like, what can they do differently this year to expand their horizons?
Yeah, number one, make sure that you're not just focused on the biggest names, because the biggest moment probably from the draft was Shannon drafting Elliot. And Elliott is not like someone with the most wins on his record. That is someone that caused some drama, but is also someone that won the match he was in this year. So that's my big thing, is not necessarily going for just the biggest names, is looking for some people down the card that are also going to be able to get you those consistent wins, because that's something that matters. I'd also say not getting too tied down to trying to have the exact same family that you had in this past season, because that's not necessarily realistic. Roxy's been talking some mad smack about how she's going to maybe try and snag away Marisol. I think that would be huge and a pretty cool moment if it happens. And I think that's going to be the big thing, is not looking too far to the past. Look at the people who are clearly getting some wins today. And once you've got a good solid faction of folks that you know are going to be able to get you at least a win or two, then probably start looking at those untested rookies. And then going like, ooh boy, I might want to snatch one of these boys up. Because obviously Robert Parker was a rookie, and a much hyped rookie. But the fact that that was kind of the crown jewel for Kaiser in the dungeon turned out to be a little bit of oops. So don't do that.
Yeah,
I
it was
have
an oops
more
this year,
whiskey
but we'll
in my
see.
system than
Yeah,
food.
I think
That's a
next
problem.
year it'll be less of an oops. I think after having that year, and you can tell how knowledgeable he is. I think next year, or well, this year, remember it's 2021, not 2022. You know, when you're in school and you're writing the date and you're like, oh, I got it wrong. So, but yeah, I think this year we might see some good things from him. So I think Dungeon will be a little bit better this year, because I think Kaiser learned not to put all his eggs in one basket.
Definitely, and he seemed to learn his lesson here when he came on, and was extremely grateful to hang out with us for a really long time on this show, and just thankful to everyone who hung out with us tonight. Thanks to everybody that came on. Soul, we're happy to bring you into the family. We're happy to announce the move over to the Pop Culture Universe channel over on January 22nd of this very year, 2021. But folks, that'll do it for this episode. John Barr, where can the fine folks of the internet find more of you?
I mean, apparently, I guess I've just booked myself a match, so you can find me when and where that happens. In the meantime, you can follow me at John Barr Tweets on Twitter and Instagram, and then twitch.tv/John Barr. I get up to some antics over there. I'm hoping to revamp that coming into this new year and coming into this new week even. I'm back. I'm doing it again. Check it out.
We're back. Soul, you are the newest member of this family. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me at SoulGovin on Twitter, at soul.k.govin on Instagram. You can find me over at the Pop Culture Universe YouTube channel, and then you can also find me over at the Media Sweaties YouTube channel. Every Wednesday, I do a show called Soul Talk, so go check that out.
Yes, please do. This fine lady knows more about books than I will hope to ever forget. Like, you've forgotten more than I'll ever know about books. You just got it all. And
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just always in awe. Boggs, my man, we've spent about 4 hours today on the internet together. What else did you do today on the internet?
I was on the Pop Culture Universe doing We Have the High Ground. Me and Colin talking about our best Star Wars Rebels moments. We also had a guest. Her name was Crystal Kyber. She was also in the chat earlier today. Check her stuff out. Check our stuff out, of course, on the Pop Culture Universe. Shout out to Matt from What Real Entertainment. Shout out to Rick Rager for coming on. Shout out to Thomas for coming on, introducing himself to the community. Shout out to Chris in the chat, Leo in the chat, Guy and A, and everyone watching. This is the most we've had watching at the same time as well. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Tune in next week. We'll keep this up. So hopefully we'll announce some dates with some guests coming on. I don't want to announce it too early. I haven't set the dates yet, but yeah, keep commenting, liking, subscribing. Main thing is everyone hop over to the Pop Culture Universe. So much stuff going on there, and pleasure to be on here with you guys.
Absolutely. And in the description of this video, I will have the Pop Culture Universe channel over there. So we will start the migration. Who knows? Maybe next week we'll do a little we'll stream on both channels at the same time. Try to get a little crossover going on. We'll see what happens. And then eventually on the 22nd we'll get fully over to the other channel. But next week, guys, we say goodbye to our first one-bedroom apartment. I feel like that's what this is next week. We got too big for our 1-bedroom apartment, and we're moving in to like a 3-bedroom in maybe I don't want to say like Malibu. Malibu is a bit of an upgrade, but maybe like West Hollywood or something. You know, what do you think about that, John? You want to move from maybe like Reseda to West Hollywood?
I was about to say Reseda. Yeah.
Or
Listen,
just
you-
up
we
to
can all-
Encino, to the hills.
We can all just move in with me in Koreatown. I've got
Yes,
3 rooms in this
K-Town.
apartment.
That's
There
what
we
I'm
go.
talking about. Yes.
I live right
Food
next
is
to a liquor
fantastic.
store.
Boom! That's all we need for this show to work. All we need is. Well, folks, that'll do it for this spectacularly just one of my favorite episodes we've ever done of the show. This was just a great time. We just had so much fun. This was awesome. I love it. We introduced a brand new co-host. We're moving over to another channel. This has been the Ultimate Schmodown Show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Everybody in the chat, you've been fantastic. And folks, we will see you next time for the last time on this channel. But for now, signing off. Bye-bye.